Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the Box Office Artist Morning Show. Good morning to everybody. Good morning. It's gonna be a lot of fun today. Gonna be a lot of fun today as we are going to be drawing Barney, the dinosaur, as Godzilla. That's what we're going to do today. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be epic. Thank you to I forgot who suggested that yesterday. I totally forgot who decided that yesterday, but if that was you, I'll recognize your name if you put it up in the chat there. But I'm streaming again on multiple platforms: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook Live, Instagram. Hello, everyone on Instagram, and to Instagram, you get a little bit of short out of the stick because unfortunately I cannot see the comments on Instagram. My apologies to everybody on Instagram because straight from my phone, it's up in the corner. But if you want to actually see me, what I look like, what I'm wearing today, by all means, you could go to the other platforms and see what I'm going to be doing. So, hello, everybody. Hello, everyone in live chat. Hello, Brian. Good to see you. My buddy Mario's here holding down the fort on YouTube. Good to see you, my friend. Bob's here. Gurmere. Igaretto's here. She Love Art. Hello, my friends. Good morning. Good morning. Usually I don't show this part. Usually I have these things taped up. My apologies. I started a little bit late today. Because here's the problem, guys. The reason I started late is because I made a huge mistake yesterday, my friends. A huge mistake. The huge mistake was I downloaded TikTok again. That's what the huge mistake was. With the intention of going live on TikTok eventually, I do need to get my other phone to do that. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and tape this up. So I was up early, guys. I was up around 3:30, but I literally was scrolling on TikTok for an hour. What a time waste! I could have been done Godzilla by now. So just showing you what I'm doing right now. So you saw I'm using two Strathmore 11x17 Bristol boards here. So in comic book terms, this is a double page spread. And you can't do this with AI art, my friends. Can't do this with AI art. And we're gonna put that subject to bed. We talked too much about that yesterday. So, by the way, for those of you, I'm gonna apologize to those of you who were looking for the podcast yesterday, the podcast of yesterday's stream, because my podcast didn't update. My podcast did not update. Like I paid for the for more storage for my podcast, and it didn't update. So it still said I only had like 500 megabytes of storage, so it wouldn't let me update yesterday or upload yesterday's podcast. So I'm trying to get that fixed right now. They told me that it should have fixed up already. So we're trying to get that all fixed up and ready to go. So if you wanted the podcast version, which actually has cleaner audio. It actually has cleaner audio and hopefully something very listenable. You can check that out on the box. Go ahead and start this Barney as Godzilla, and this is going to see. Though, to be honest, if you want to see Barney as Godzilla, just type that into your AI art of app of choice. But if you want to see the slow way to get there. That's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start drawing this one. It's going to be a lot of fun. And hello to everybody on Instagram. Hello, Art Naza. Good to see you. It's been a long time. Good to see you again, my friend. Art Naza. People are starting to join in on the Instagram chat. Oh, one thing I forgot to do. My apologies, guys. Let me just change out my battery on my top camera here. I just realized the battery's dead. So give me 1 second here. How's everyone doing this morning? Now, I'm going to try something a little different today. Because someone mentioned yesterday they liked hearing the pencil scratches and they liked the ASMR feel. So I'm going to try to do this with no music today. Okay? And so a couple of good things we could do about that is that you could, first of all, play your own music. You don't have to go with my epic music here. You could do your own thing. you know, play whatever music you would like. And you're going to just hear me yapping cleanly for the next couple hours. So it is around 4:55 in the AM here in Canada. 4:55 on the AM here. And I'm going to go ahead and start drawing this what's it, Barney as Godzilla. Somebody's asking about Mecha Godzilla. I drew that already, my friend. Actually, I drew a pretty detailed one. And I forgot the director of, and actually, that's been broken up. So let me just sketch that out. But the director of Kong vs. Godzilla, I think Adam Wingard, he actually messaged me. He saw my Mecha Godzilla drawing. He messaged me. He really liked it. So I don't think I could do that one. Or I could do it better than what I did before. so you could check that out. So Mario says, "What's the best AI program for computer generated image or art?" I'm not too sure. The one everyone's using right now is the Lensa one, the one that's stealing artists. And I didn't actually know how prevalent the stealing was, because there were artists out there that are having their artwork being kind of mimicked, because I believe it actually asks you what style you want your artwork to be in, and they actually give you a list of artists, and people's art is being used without their permission, and that's the unfortunate thing, including the late great Kim Jong-gi, unfortunately. So I don't want to get all into that today, because we talked at length about that yesterday. But you could go ahead and take a look at those apps. But the one everyone's using right now is the Lensa app. The Lensa app, where you put in a lot of your photos, and then it would actually make your face in multiple styles. So I haven't tried it. I haven't tried it yet personally. I think my daughter. I told my daughter to give it a go yesterday, and she tried it. So it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. So we will see. Okay, but in the meantime, let's do this Barney here. Okay, we're gonna do Barney here as Godzilla. So we're gonna get going here, guys. We're gonna get going. Go. Let's get this rocking here. Get this rocking, this Godzilla here. So, well, I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about today? Let me see if there's a story, any particular story you guys want to hear. By all means, put it in the chat if you want anything you want me to talk about today. By all means, go put it in the chat, and we will talk about that. So Gian says, "Where can I study about engraving?" Oh, I'm honestly not sure, my friend. I'm honestly not sure. So let's see if there's a story I could talk about today. 1 second here. Let's see here. Okay. I talked about Dreamwave. Talk about this is a great way to start a podcast. And again, I apologize. I woke up late. I didn't wake up late at all. It's actually more. I was on TikTok for an hour. But I will say, how about we'll start off. Let's see here. A couple of things we could talk about here. We could talk about. Okay, let's talk about when I decided to get into film. Let's talk about my film career. A couple of good things coming out right now, and how about Avatar getting all the great reviews right now? We'll talk about Avatar in a bit. Kind of makes me want to do an Avatar piece sooner than later. We've been doing the Marvel Phase 4 stuff recently, but part of me wants to do an Avatar one sooner than later. But we'll talk about that later. But let's talk about my journey into film. When you're a comic book artist, or when I was younger, it seemed like a lot of the artists, they would start off in comics, and then they would slowly transition into film. Okay, they would slowly start trying to find a film job afterwards. And to be honest, it's because of money. Come on. Especially back then when selling your doing commission stuff at conventions wasn't as big as it is today. Selling prints at commission isn't as big as today. Like, I think if selling prints and stuff was as big when I was coming up in comics as it was today, I probably never would have left comics. If this convention scene wasn't as, and maybe it was, I just wasn't a part of it. Maybe it was. I just wasn't a part of it. This art convention scene where artists are going to conventions, selling their artwork as prints. If it was as big as it is today, as it was back then, like in the early, I would have stuck in comics for as a lot longer, and then, well, my trajectory in life would have been completely different if that was the case. Hold on, let me go back to my reference here. But I decided to go into film, and let me tell you why. There came a point in my life where I was literally working on 3 comic books at once. Okay, 3 comic books at the same time. Because number one, I couldn't say no. When you're just starting out, when you're a freelancer, sometimes the deal in comics is that sometimes you don't have any job offers at all. So it seemed like 6 months of the year, I had nothing. I had nothing to do. Marvel's not calling, DC's not calling, or I had a relationship with them. They know about me. It's just they had no work for me. Because when you're not an established artist, or you're not someone who have proven themselves yet, getting those jobs, consistent work is actually very, very tough. It's actually extremely tough. So you don't know when the work's coming. So it seems like 6 to 9 months of the year, you're not working. And then 3 months of the year, everything comes in. All the offers come in, all at the same time. And you're like, where were you guys like 2 months ago when I needed food? So there came a point in my life where I was working on 3 comics at the same time. 3 books at the same time. And I'll actually tell you the books that I was working on, all 3 at the same time. And don't tell my buddy Eric Coe that this was happening. He'll get mad at me. Because one of them was, well, let me tell you that whole story, okay? So I got a job doing City of Heroes for Top Cow, okay? So if you guys don't know Top Cow, they do Witchblade. They do, I'm trying to think of something that you guys would know. Cyberforce, like the older time comic book creators would know these things, but let's see, Witchblade, The Darkness, Cyberforce. Mark Millar did Wanted, the movie Wanted there, and that's an old movie too. So I'm trying to think of anything mainstream now that you would know from Top Cow. But Mark Silvestri, the head of that studio, and for years actually, I've always had contact. I've always had contact with Top Cow. So I knew eventually I would have some sort of work with them. So they finally gave me an opportunity, okay? And it was for a comic book called City of Heroes. City of Heroes was a very big video game back then. And I actually almost got the chance to work for that video game studio. And that's a story for another day. Or actually, it might be a story for today, because this actually will lead into my visual effects journey today. But as I go ahead and draw Barney's snout here. But so they offered me City of Heroes, and then the pay was very low. The pay was very, very low. Okay. When I say low, I guess I could say that this was a long time ago. I'm sure their pay rates have risen since then, but I was only paid like $100 a page. It was very small, very small. So, at that low page rate, that also doesn't incentivize you to, when another offer comes along, that was paying more, of course you're going to entertain, can I do both at the same time? So that's what happened. So that came along. And then my good friend, Eric Coe, who owns Udon right now. They do a lot of the Street Fighter stuff, like Street Fighter collections and all of that. Eric is one of the best businessmen in comics right now, you know, and a really nice guy, really great guy. I got to know him over the years. Really good guy. He offered me a chance to help fill in on Transformers G.I. Joe. A lot of you guys were asking me to do G.I. Joe here. So you want me to do Transformers G.I. Joe at a much higher page rate, than what Top Cat was offering me. So I was like, okay, I could do both. I could do both comics at the same time. You know, then I said, okay, I can split my day. I'm going to work 8 hours on one page for Top Cow and then 8 hours on the page for Eric. Okay, great. And then I got another job offer. Like all at once. I was like, where were you guys a few months ago, right? My friend Edwin, who worked with me at Dreamwave, he had a job at Spin Master Toys. Spin Master, they do what's it called? What does Spin Master Toys do? They do I forgot the name of the toy. I mean, that's a good thing. But they were working on this property that was pretty much, if I'm gonna be frank, it's pretty much a G.I. Joe ripoff. Or look, it had very serious G.I. Joe vibes. Let's just say that. Very, very serious G.I. Joe vibes. So they asked me to develop that, and they wanted me to do a comic book that would be inserted into the toys. So all three of these projects came all at once. And I couldn't say no, which was a huge mistake. And I will tell you guys that in a bit. Why? Gigantic mistake, guys. Gigantic mistake. But I said yes to all three. Okay? And I worked it out in my head. Okay, this is what I'm going to do, guys. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up early in the morning. You guys know I'm a morning guy, as evident by these streams here. I'm a morning guy, so I'm going to wake up at, I think it was 6 a.m., okay? So 6 a.m. to 12. 6 to 12, I'm going to work on City of Heroes. From 12 to 6, I'm going to work on Transformers G.I. Joe. And from 6 to 12, I'm going to work on... I get to do a page for the other one, okay? Big mistake, okay? And good morning, Nathan. Because what happened was everything suffered. All the artwork sucked. Okay? And my life was, I was chained to a desk for a good month, okay? To the point where I ended up quitting the Top Cow job. Okay, now here's the smart thing, guys. And to you younger artists out there, this would have been the smarter thing to do. Okay, I did the money play, all right? Now, was I starving at the time? No. Was I in need for rent money or mortgage money? I never really rented in my life. Like me and my wife, we started out life. We were blessed enough we were able to buy a house right away. But did I need the mortgage money? No. Like again, my wife, she was a nurse, so we were okay on that front. So it wasn't like I was clamoring for the money. Like I needed the money, right? It's not like I was rich or anything. Actually, we were like really just at making ends meet type thing. We were at that point, but I didn't need to do all three. Let's just say that didn't need to do all three at all. And I became behind on all of them. This would have been the smart play, okay? This would have been the smarter play to do, okay? Even though the Top Cow one was the lowest paying job, okay? Even though that was the lowest paying job, it had potentially the most opportunity. And let me tell you why. Because it was a team book. So it was a potential for an audition to do a team book at a bigger company. Okay? So this would have been the smarter play. Okay, this would have been the smarter play. It would have been to turn down anything else that came at that time because they wanted me to do 3 issues at Top Cow. They wanted me to do 3 issues. If I was willing to work that hard for 3 books, what if I took all that effort and just focused on the 1 book? Okay? Even though it was the lowest paying. If I were to have done just the 1 book, City of Heroes, worked my heart into that book, been able to do 2 pages a day, get that book out fast, on time, great quality in even half the time, that would have looked better on me. That would have looked better on me. That would have been the smarter play. Even though I was paid a little bit more at those other, even though the other ones offered me a little bit more money. Like you get a reputation in comics. Like it gets around. Word gets around on how you work. Word gets around if you're slow. Word gets around if you blow deadlines. Word gets around if you quit a job in the middle of it. And that's what I did. That's what I did. So the smarter play, the absolute smart play would have been to stick with Top Cow because that was the job I agreed to first. Finish that as soon as I could. Do the best job I could have. And then I could have took that artwork and used it as an audition as my portfolio to try to get into the bigger companies. That would have been the smarter play. I didn't do that. I took all 3 jobs and all 3 jobs sucked. My artwork sucked. It was horrible. Horrible. And I was not living the life I wanted. My wife asked me, it was midnight. I was exhausted. And she asked me, are you happy? She asked me, are you happy? And I'm like, you know what? I got work. I'm working on 3 comics. I guess I am. I'm happy. And then she goes, you know what? Well, we're not. Honest truth. We're not happy. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, look, you're home. You're working from home. Hooray. But you're always in your room. You're never leaving. You're never leaving your room. You're stressed out 24/7. You're not happy with your work you're doing. Can we find something that's a little bit more benefit to the family? Okay, at that time, I just had the 1 kid at the time. Just my oldest daughter, who's turning 18 in a few days. Can you believe that? My oldest daughter's turning 18. Can't believe it. She said, is there something we could do where you could go to work and then leave your work at work? And that's when I decided, I took a hard look at myself, and I've been going at comics for at this point, a good 5 years. A good 5 years now. And at that point in my life, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's worth a try. Maybe it's worth a try. So that's when I decided, why don't I try to get into film? Why don't I try to get into film? So this was... when was this? This must have been 2005. 2005. I decided, okay, let's try to get into film. Let's go back to school and try to figure it out. Because a lot of my friends at Dreamwave at the time, a lot of them went back to school at this point. A lot of them went back to school, and a lot of them was killing it in the video game industry. A lot of them went to go get video game jobs. And these were stable jobs, a lot different than my studio days at Dreamwave. So I thought, okay, why don't I give that a try? Let's go back to school. So that's when I decided to go back to school. And I had some choices when I decided to go back to school. A lot of my friends, they went to the school here called Seneca College. And there was this gaming program there. And this gaming program to this, and I'm not sure if he's still doing it. I think he is. To this day, it's being run by a friend of mine. You might know who he is. For those of you who are into comics, his name's Jim Zub. Prolific comic book writer, Jim Zub. He was doing side stuff for Udon at the time, but he runs this animation program at Seneca College here in Canada. So a lot of you guys know Jim Zub. And I sat down with him and we talked because we had a lot of again, a lot of my friends at Dreamwave, they all decided to go back to school and work and to upgrade to learn this new profession. And they told me about the video games, and the program sounds amazing. The program at Seneca was really awesome because it's pretty much you were like guaranteed a job, even if you couldn't get a job in gaming. They actually had their own gaming company that was like upstairs. So worst comes to worst, you could actually get, if you're good, of course. If you're good, of course. So they're not just going to hire anyone, but if you were passable, you could work at their gaming studio. So it was like a guaranteed job. And you could learn a lot. Now, there's a couple of issues here. Number one, I'm not a gamer. You guys know that. You guys who are watching me for a long time, I don't play games. I'm not much of a gamer. And I didn't know if I was kind of limiting myself to just games if I went to this particular program. Now, Jim actually told me, hey, look, with your work experience, you'll have no problems getting into this program, right? Pretty much I could even tell you're in this program if you want to come in. He told me that. Jim's a fantastic guy. If you guys haven't heard my interview with Jim, go check out my podcast channel. Go check out my podcast channel and check out my interview with Jim. Bearwolf is asking, what courses would you recommend for someone wanting to make their own comics? Check out my interview with Jim from a college professor. He actually tells you about that. But I will tell you, take an animation course because you'll learn actually more than just creating comics. But the skills you learn there will really, really help you in comics as well. That's what I would tell you. But so I pretty much was, after talking with Jim, I was like 99% sure I was going to take that program. But then I started looking around, and there were a lot of programs there. One program that really intrigued me was this computer animation program at my alma mater, Sheridan College. And this animation program at Sheridan College, that was the one I was telling you, it was world-renowned. The computer animation one especially. That was world-renowned because back in the day, as I told you guys before, back in the day, Disney would come up and just pluck people out of that program. And a lot of people in the industry, they came from Sheridan College. And then I thought to myself, because I didn't know if I wanted to work in video games. I think I preferred to work in film. I wanted to work on big blockbuster movies instead. So I said to myself, am I limiting myself? Am I pigeonholing myself if I took a video game course as opposed to a generic, well, I don't want to say generic, but a more specialized computer animation course? So, I looked into it, and then it was fun again applying to these schools because even though I had a lot of work experience at that time, like I had 5 years working in comics, guys, it should have been no problem for me getting into these programs. But, you're scared, right? You're putting together a portfolio. You're scared, But I'm like, oh, am I going to get in? Am I going to get into the program? And of course I got in, of course, right? Of course I got into the programs, but then I had to decide which program did I want to get into, okay? So, by the way, I just realized this story is going to be way too long for me to tell my whole visual effects career. So maybe I'll tell you about my schooling process here. So, looking into the programs, I decided, look, as much as I know Jim is going to help me out, as much as I know, I definitely would have done well in computer animation or into like the video game program. Number one, I knew I'm not a gamer. I'm not a gamer at all. And number two, I knew I would actually have more options if I went into computer animation. And the possibility of me working in games was still there if I decided to go into computer animation. So that's when I decided to accept taking computer animation at Sheridan College instead. Okay, so that was it. I was 27 years old at the time. Very, ancient for some of you guys, but 27 years old. I decided to go back to school and go take computer animation. So This particular course that you're in college, it's a 1 year course. So 1 year. And pretty much you learn everything. You learn everything you need to get into animation. So I went ahead and took this course. It's a 1 year course, and I was one of the guys. There's guys in this course where you're like, why are you here? And I was blessed enough to be one of those guys, because they're like, why are you here? Like, you're here with some of these guys that were just graduated program. You can't take computer animation straight out of college, out of high school. You actually need some sort of degree or work experience to get into this program. Okay, so everybody in this program, they finished some sort of college program, or they had work experience. So I was one of those guys with the work experience coming in. Though I did finish technical illustration at Sheridan. We talked about that in a previous podcast. So I met a lot of friends. I met a lot of friends, and it's interesting coming in with work experience. It's interesting going to school when you have a family already, because you take it a lot more seriously. Okay? You take it a lot more seriously. I actually understand. You could tell, and I mentioned this yesterday, you could tell right in college and those who weren't. You could tell. Okay? You could tell those that weren't paying for their college degree. Okay? Like either their parents were funding the college degree, or their tuition. You could tell the difference, because I found the people that were paying on their own, for the most part, not everybody, but they were the ones more likely to take the courses seriously. They were the ones who had to pay their own way. Okay, who were working jobs while we were studying. Like, those guys were taking it way more seriously than the ones who had their parents pay for their course. That's just how it was. So you could tell right away. You could tell the people that were working hard. You could tell the people that were taking it seriously. So they weren't necessarily the most talented, but they were the ones who were taking the course seriously. They were definitely the ones taking the course more seriously. So it was interesting to see that dynamic. Now, the first time I went to college, I was the person that was not taking it seriously, as seriously. I was very blessed. My parents, they paid for everything my first time around. I was very blessed, and I know not a lot of people get that opportunity. But I was very blessed. My parents paid my way for the first round of school. This is what I was paying on my own. Okay, this one, my wife and I, we were working hard, so to pay my own tuition here. Okay, didn't get any government funding, didn't get a loan. Like, we paid our own for this round here, and I met lifelong friends there. I really did. So I highly enjoyed this second round of college a lot more than the first round, because I came in more experienced. I came in with a purpose. I came in more determined than my first go around at college. Okay, this one here, I'm like, okay, I got a family. I got to make this work. I have to make this work. So I took it way more seriously. So I met a lot of lifelong friends there. My good friend Cheruvi, I told you about her yesterday. She was a lot of the international students. They gravitated towards me. Number one, because of my church, I'm used to working a lot with a lot of people who were just fresh from other countries. So I was like their tour guide. A lot of them, they called me dad. They called me dad because I was like their Canadian dad for a lot of them. A lot of these younger kids that were coming from different countries don't know anything about the Western culture or about North America. Like, I had friends from Brazil. So Cheruvi was one of them. My friend Andrea. My friend Augustin, who's killing it right now. He's like a lot of the people that I worked with in my college class. Though the hardworking ones, a lot of them are like big supervisors now. So they call me dad. They call me dad. Like you guys are calling me uncle. Like I told you guys, call me Tito James or Tito Boy. I am Tito Boy. Tito James. Okay, I want you guys to call me Tito James. That's my new name here. Tito James. Tito James. I am Tito James. Anyway, so I showed them around. Like none of them have ever had the concept of a buffet. And maybe some of you guys never heard of a buffet before. But it was interesting bringing them to a buffet because I brought them to a buffet and they've got the food and they're like, where do I pay for this? Like, no. If you pay at the end after you eat all the food. They've never experienced a buffet before, which was great. So just to bring them around, getting them accustomed to Western culture, that was a lot of fun. And a lot of them were super duper talented. Like these were some of the most talented people in the world that I was working with here. So this particular course, computer animation, like I learned a lot of things. We're learning 3D software. So I mentioned before, I was trained in Maya, which I believe is still the industry standard in terms of 3D software. I know a lot of people are using Blender right now because it's a free software. Of course, definitely use Blender, guys. If you learn some 3D, you could always use it for multiple things. Learn 3D. It's free. But we were using Maya at the time. This is very old, guys. Before Maya started using the dates. Like you got Maya 2022 now, or 2023. Back then it was numbered. Back there. So we were using Maya 7, I believe. Maya 7 back then. And we had a bunch of different projects. So the first year we were learning the fundamentals. We were learning all the programs. So we had a modeling class. So we were learning how to model in 3D. It was taught by one of my teachers, James Raiz. He was my teacher. He was fantastic. He was great. I love James. And then we had our animation class. Animation, man. I wasn't that great at it. To this day, I'm definitely not great in animation as I'd like to be. But our teacher was amazing. Mark, our teacher, he was awesome. Very animated. You know one thing about animators, guys? Animators are some of the most animated people you ever meet in your life. He was definitely one of the most animated. He's like, almost like, he's like that. Really, really cool guy. Really, really cool guy. We spent an entire class bouncing balls. We spent a whole class. He brought this whole bunch of balls, and we were just bouncing them, the whole balls, just to see how they would bounce, how life worked, how they would animate, and then we had to animate balls in Maya, which is a lot tougher than it sounds, guys. It's a lot tougher than it sounds, but a lot of fun. So we learned animation, we learned how to texture, we learned all sorts of things, everything to do with all of the jobs in the visual effects industry. That's what we were learning. So in the first semester we had a bunch of projects. So I had to. I remember one of our first projects. It was a modeling project. We had to make this little short, 10-second short. It was like an intro for our demo reel. Okay. So what I did, and you could probably, I'm not sure if this is online. I think I put it up online. You could actually look it up. I did this because I'm a Transformer guy, and Reese, if Reese is here, he'd appreciate this. I did a model of a Transformers Armada Megatron. Okay. And I actually animated it. I animated this Transformers Armada Megatron that ran over all these Lego figures and it transformed. And then when you would zoom out, all the little Lego characters, it spelled out my name. It was actually really cool. I want to see if I still have that somewhere. I think you might find that on my second channel, guys, youtube.com/James Raiz. You might be able to find that. I want to find it. I want to go see that again. That was done in Maya 7. Guys, Maya 7. Now, they didn't want us to do any rigging. For those of you who don't know what rigging is, it's adding let's just say bones to your animation model so that you could animate it. Okay, so that was one of the projects. And we did a whole bunch of projects. We did a whole bunch of animation projects and modeling projects at the beginning of the first semester. But in the second semester, we focused on creating our own film. So the whole semester was us creating a film, and this film, the purpose of this film is to get us a job, okay? The purpose of this film was to get us a job. So we had to develop the film right from the beginning. So my first idea for the film, it's actually kind of little not PG. Let me tell you the concept of the film. My original plan for the film, okay? My original plan for my original film was this young boy, is very Toy Story-ish, okay? This young boy, he's in his room. And it's actually a very dark story, guys. He's in his room, and he's crying because he was abused, okay? Now, I didn't show that the abuse or anything, but he was crying because he's being abused. And then all of a sudden, his toys come to life, okay? So initially I had planned like 3 toys. They come to life. And then they start dancing. Okay, so the toys started to dance. They started to dance. And already in my head, even today, with today's technology, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way you'd be able to do this in 6 months. No, I think we had 4 months to put it together, if I'm not mistaken. We had about 4 months to put this final film together. But they started dancing. They would do this cool dance. And then at the end, the father would barge into the room. And then would leave it at that. So you don't know what happens after that. So I still think ambiguous. I was thinking, okay, maybe I could have won some awards with this short. That's what I wanted. I wanted my short. Reminds you of Meat Canyon. There you go, Mario. Isn't that a crazy channel? I wanted this short to make the festival circuits. That's what I was thinking in my head. What can I create that could get awards later? Right? That could get awards later. That's what I was thinking. And the father would barge in the room with this big belt. That's what I was thinking. Like, okay, this will win awards. That's what my thought process was. So I presented the idea. And of course, the first thing they did was look at me funny. And then the second thing they did was, like, James, there's no way you're gonna pull this off in a month. They said, first of all, you have multiple characters that you gotta build and rig, and then you're gonna have to animate all 4 characters, and you're like, there's just no way. Can you simplify the story and adjust it? Okay, so I'm like, okay, let's figure this out. Then I thought, okay, well, what if it's just one guy? So I like the dancing aspect. Okay, so what if I decided to, okay, what if I had this guy in a wheelchair? Okay, this is how it evolved to. There's this dude in a wheelchair. And then what if he's in a wheelchair and he's sad that he's in a wheelchair? Okay, he's sad. He's in a wheelchair. And then, by the way, Noah's asking, what if I draw Buzz versus Zurg next? I did do a lot of Buzz drawings, by the way. You go check that out, my friend. Just look that up on my channel. Most detailed drawing ever of Buzz Lightyear. And I drew a hyper-detailed Buzz Lightyear and Zurg already. So go check that out. But anyway, I said, what if I had this dude in a wheelchair? Okay? And then, like, he's sad, he's in a wheelchair. But then all of a sudden, he starts breakdancing with the wheelchair. So I created this little animatic of this dude dancing in a wheelchair. Okay, so he was doing all these breakdancing moves with the wheelchair, and I thought it was pretty cool. I thought that he had some potential in that one. So I talked to my teachers, and then that kind of evolved a little bit. Okay, because you know me, I wanted a little bit of sci-fi-ness in there. I wanted to add some of that sci-fi-ness I had from my comic book career, right? So that idea evolved. And then it evolved into what the short turned into. So what the premise of the short now, and I believe you could actually see this on my second channel, youtube.com/James Raiz. You can actually see this on my second channel. What if we had a guy? Okay, it's the future. It's the future, so I could actually make this sci-fi looking apartment. Okay, so what if we had this dude? Okay, he just got a brand new wheelchair. Okay, so I never say how he got the wheelchair. I never say what accident he got in. Okay, but he got a brand new wheelchair, and he's testing out this new sci-fi wheelchair. Okay, sci-fi wheelchair. And then the sci-fi wheelchair malfunctions. Okay, what if the sci-fi wheelchair malfunctions, and then it crashes him all over the room, so the room starts busting up. Okay. And then he goes all over the room, and then it busts up. So I thought to myself, a couple things I could do with this. Like, I'm showing my animation skill. I'm showing my modeling skill by modeling all these sci-fi elements, reaction skill. So that's what it turned into, okay? So the short itself, it's called Upgrade, okay? So I'm not sure if you can actually find it. If you guys want, you could Google, let me even see if I could find it here. Let's see if I can find it here. Like box office artist or James Raiz Upgrade. Let's see if I can find it. I might have it up. Upgrade. Let's see if I can find it. I'm just checking if I can find the short. If not, maybe I can pull it up. I might have privated it. I can't find it offhand. Let me find it, guys. Let me find it, and I'll let you guys know so you guys can see it. But it's called Upgrade, and it took me 4 months to put together. So if you actually look at the character, if you actually look at the model, I my love for The Rock, even back then, because you guys know I'm a gigantic wrestling fan, but he just started the movies back then. The model is really The Rock, and you could tell. You could tell I was thinking about The Rock in that movie, and the wheelchair was this big sci-fi looking wheelchair. It was really cool, man. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to put together, but it was hard. It was definitely hard, guys. Like, that was not easy to pull off. Like, a lot of and I am thankful that I had that comic book experience. Because I think if I was just out of school, I would have dropped out. I would have dropped out. It was a lot of work. Like, I was up days at a time, guys. I was at the school. I'm literally there 3, 4, 5 in the morning. But the thing is, it was fun because the people who were able to last up to that point where we were doing the final film, they were the ones working hard. They were the ones that were the talented ones that you could draw off of. And this is one thing I always say about school, guys. Like, do you 100% need to go to school? No, you don't. If you work hard enough, and I always say this about school, guys. If you're willing to put the work in, you don't really need school, but you still need to put the work in, okay? A lot of people say, do I need school? And I always ask the question, why do you ask that question? Why do you ask the question, do you need school? Is it because you can't afford school? Or school's so expensive? Or is it because, I always say it's how you learn. School can be a valuable tool. I needed school. And let me tell you why. I needed school. There's no way I would have learned all the skills that I learned in school on my own. Because I'm lazy. I'm lazy, guys. I needed somebody to tell me that this project is due on this day or else. That was the motivation I needed. A lot of you are asking me about motivation. A lot of you are asking me how to get over art block. One of the biggest ways to get over art block is by having a deadline. Is by having someone making you accountable. That's one of the best ways to get over art block. That's the best ways to get on with your work if somebody's expecting you to do work and it's due at a certain time. All right? But a lot of you, of course, the expense is a big thing. That's why you ask, for sure. So it all depends on you and how you learn. For me, if you're able to learn on your own, if you are disciplined enough to do the work when you have to, then you don't need school. In fact, there's so many online resources now where, you could go, if you're willing to spend a little bit of money, that's way cheaper than a college program would be. You don't need school. Like, go buy yourself a Nomon subscription. Nomon, Gnomon. The Nomon subscription, it's pennies on the dollar compared to school, and you're learning from the best people in the world. But the thing is, you're accountable to yourself. You have to put in the work. You have to go through all those tutorials. You could sign up for what's called Bobby Chu's school, his online schoolism, where you're literally learning from the best artists in the world on there for a nominal fee, like compared to college, for a nominal fee, and you're learning for the best. But the thing is, you have to actually do the work. Okay, so for me, that would have been hard for me because I don't work well that way. I need somebody to tell me it's due on this day. If it was just me, it's very easy for me to go, oh, I could take my time. Oh, it's okay. I could take an extra day here or there. It would have took me like at least 5 times slower to learn everything I did if I didn't go to school. Okay. So that's the biggest difference. Now, again, if you could learn on your own, fantastic. Great. If you could learn on your own, that's fantastic. But I needed that kick in the can. I needed somebody to tell me that I needed it. And there's no way, absolutely no way, I would have been able to do that short film, if I wasn't in school. There's no way. And also the friends you make along the way. Like, I had a fantastic time in school, guys. I did. The second time, even more than the first time. Like, I had friends the first time, but the second time, because people relied on me, I was the old guy. I was the guy with the experience. And I met a lot of great people there. Wonderful people, friends of mine to this day. I told you guys about my friend Cherubi who doing. I told you guys I wanted my film to actually go into film festivals, which it didn't, of course. Like, it was pretty bad. But hers did. Her short film, it actually got into a lot of film festivals. And she won a lot of awards with her student films. That's how good she is. She's amazing. My friend Cherubi, again, go Cherubi Design Labs. You could check that out on YouTube. But and then my friend Andrea, who's I think she's back in where I think she was from Chile, if I'm not mistaken. She's a professor in Chile now. My friend Augustine, he's a big art director now. My friend Young, my friend Young, he is from the U.S. He was a caricature artist, so he did a lot of like Mad Magazine style drawings, paintings, and he was actually working while we were in school. So he had an agent who got him a lot of work, and he did a lot. He was actually working. He was so talented, one of the best artists I've ever seen. And he's doing really well for himself now. A lot of my friends, like my friend Alvin, worked at multiple visual effects companies. Like, I had a lot of friends there who did extremely well after school. So after the final film, after it was all done, we were all excited. We all did it. We had this little film festival, and a lot of schools do this. But what they do is they invite all of the companies all around Toronto. There's a lot of visual effects companies. There's a lot of different gaming companies here. So you guys know Ubisoft's here, but they weren't there at that time. They weren't there yet. Ubisoft came here eventually. But a place called Digital Extremes, which is still around, which is in London, Ontario. There was a company called Silicon Knights, which I think actually went out of business, if I'm not mistaken. So they all came down. So they all sent their representatives down, and then we had this little film festival. And they showed all their films. And then afterwards, the recruiters who came, they take notes, and then they look for you. They look for you. So you go to your desk, and then afterwards, and then they come look for you, and then they give you a card and stuff. So I remember the digital extreme lady. She came up and she looked for me, and then she liked my short. And then she's like, "Can I see your models? Can I see your let me see your models, your 3D models for your characters." And I showed her. And let's just say I didn't do them the most optimized way. Let's just say that. And then she made a face. Let me see your models. I show her models, and this is her face. She was like, you're like, okay. Well, here's a card anyway. So I met a lot of people, and we got a lot of job interviews. But I remember that particular lady in particular, the digital extreme lady, because afterwards, what happens after that day? They actually put a list. So they had the company. On a piece of paper. They put it up on the board. They had the company and the list of people they wanted to interview. And for that company, Digital Extremes, I wasn't on that list. Okay, I wasn't on that list. But then I remember I was out in the hall, and then someone was rapping on the door because the front doors are locked. You need a special key to get in. And I went to open the door, and there was the digital extreme lady who was there to interview people. And it was just awkward because she knew she didn't pick me. She didn't pick me. She's like, "Oh, hello, hi, bye. And then walked away really fast. So that was fun. So I got interviewed by a lot of companies there. So it was a matter of what I wanted to do. It was a matter of what I wanted to do at that time. And 2 companies actually offered me a job there. Okay. 2 companies actually offered me a job. I had an interview with this company called, I forgot the name. Spark. It was called Spark Studios. Okay. It was called Spark Studios. And it was actually a company that was in Sheridan College. I didn't even know there was a visual effects company in Sheridan College, but they were there. And we were talking about this yesterday, I believe. This particular company, they were working on a children's show called Backyardigans. Okay? They were called Backyardigans. And they offered me a job. They were offering me a job as like a render technician. Okay? And that's a little bit hard to go into what job that is. But that would have been my job. Now, I'll admit right now, I wouldn't have done well in that job because I didn't actually know that job very well. But there were 2 substantial job offers I got. Actually, 3. Let me say 3. Well, the third one I wouldn't even say was a job offer. So I told you guys I worked on City of Heroes, right? That particular company that did City of Heroes, I did a little tryout for. Okay, so I applied to be a 3D modeler at that gaming company. And they sent me a test. So they sent me a test. I had to model this character. So this particular company, they were in California. So it was actually my shot to go to the US. Okay? So they gave me that test, okay? But at the same time, I was also contacted by MGM. And my good friend Christopher, he saw my application, and I flew out to Vancouver, which is where they were based. I flew out to Vancouver, and I did an interview there, and they wanted me to bring me on as a modeler and concept artist for Stargate. So those were my options. I had 3 options, really. Okay, so I had the one in the U.S. for the company that did City of Heroes. I forgot the name of the company. They're not in business anymore. So I had that. I had the job offer at Spark to work on Backyardigans. And I had the MGM job to work on Stargate. So each one had their advantages, okay? Number one, the number one advantage for all of them had their advantages and disadvantages. So the number one advantage for let's start with the City of Heroes job. The number one advantage was I got to go to the U.S. and they would pay for me to relocate to the U.S. Okay, and that's hard. For those of you international who want to work in the U.S., that's hard to do. So when you have a company that is willing to, bring you to the U.S. to handle all the immigration and all of that, that doesn't come along every single day, guys. It really doesn't. So that would have been a huge opportunity. Now, that also comes with risk, okay? This is why I tell my students, this is why I told my students in college, okay, here goes, I'm not here to give you life advice, okay? I'm not here to give you relationship advice, okay? I will say that if you have a family, okay, if you, there's two levels to this. If you have a wife, and then if you have a family. By the way, that's right, Brian. That is the company. NCSoft was the company. Are they still around, Brian, by the way? I think they went out of business, if I'm not mistaken, right? But if you have a wife, and it's another level if you have a kid, it makes things 10 times harder to move than if you were single, okay? So I tell people, if you have a girlfriend, now fantastic, that's great. If you want to get married and all that stuff, fantastic. I got married, right, at a young age. Fantastic. Wouldn't have had it any other way. But no, it makes it 10 times harder to move somewhere the moment you have a family. 10 times harder. So if you could hold off, okay, so it's all up to you and your priorities in life, okay? If you want to get married at a young age, hey, I did this. I got married when I was 25, guys. I got married when I was 25. But it made it that much harder. So to move to the U.S. at the time, number one, my wife can't work in the U.S. She has to take a special test to work as a nurse in the U.S., okay? So it would be a while before my wife could actually work in the U.S., okay? So we would be losing a lot of money if I went to work in the U.S., okay? Number two, I'm not used to the school system. Number three issue to working in the U.S., I don't have health care. Now, I'm sure, like, if you work for a good company in the U.S., you actually get health care, okay? You get those health care benefits. And again, it's like starting off. Like, I go there with the intention of staying there. You go there with the intention of staying there. It's not, it's not like I'm going to only be there for a few months. You're hoping that you would stay there for quite a while, for a long time. So those are the pros and cons of going there, okay? So number one, it would solve immigration status, right? So right now, it would be very hard for me to work in the U.S. right now. It would be very hard. I could go like on a business license. Like I actually looked into it. I could go on a business license, but it'd be very hard for me to relocate to the U.S. As all of you know, for you guys that are international, you look it up to get to live in the U.S. It's not easy. You can't just get up and move. Like a lot of people in the U.S., they it's very easy for them. You live in California, want to live in New York? No problem. You can do that tomorrow. You could just get up and drive and go over there tomorrow. You want to get up and move to a place where there's less income tax? No problem. You live in California. You want to get up and move to Texas the next day? No problem. You can do that tomorrow. You can't do that if you live internationally. I can't get up and say I'm moving to the States tomorrow. I would love to move to Texas. Like those of you in Texas, you know what? You know the housing prices here in Toronto? You cannot get a house for under $1 million here. Literally, guys. You cannot buy a single-story detached house in Toronto for under $1 million here. You can't do that. I could buy 4 houses in Texas for the price of 1 house here. If I were to sell my house today, I could probably buy 4 houses in Texas. That's the price of housing here, guys. It's pretty bad. And I'm not in a rich area. If you look, I live in a bungalow, guys. I live in a bungalow. If you look at my house, I live in a bungalow. And it's $1 million. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway, that's beside the point. And by the way, I did not buy this house for $1 million, guys. I bought this house like well over 10 years ago. So it was nowhere near what it's worth today, right? So, but anyway, like a little off topic, guys. But how can anyone afford a house now, especially in Toronto, Canada? Especially in Toronto, Canada, unless you like inherit it from your parents. Like, how could anybody afford a house? I can't see it. How could anybody just go up and buy a house? I have no idea. Like of these housing prices today. I'm very blessed to be in the home I'm in right now. But anyway, that's beside the point. So going to the U.S., there was a lot of disadvantages. Now, looking back at it now, it could have afforded more opportunity. It could have afforded me to get a big career in the U.S. Okay, but it would have meant I would have had to sacrifice the lifestyle of my family. So that's why it was a little bit lower on the list of what I wanted to do moving to the States. Okay, it's because of the family factor. Now, if I was single, if I didn't have kids at that time, if I wasn't married, I probably would have went for the U.S. job. Because it's not often you would get that opportunity to work in the U.S. and have them handle the immigration for you. It's not often you get something like that. It's not often. So I probably would have tried for the U.S. job more. But so that really took that option away. Right? See, Bearwolf bought his house in 2004 for $12,000, right? Now you think about it, you're like, man, I should have bought 10 of those, right? Even back in the day, I should have bought 10 of those houses, right? So, so that pretty much took away that U.S. opportunity for me. Like, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense for my family, so that brought down my selection to two jobs, right? Which was the MGM job and the job close to home. Now, the job close to home, the Spark Studios job, it was for I believe it was a 1-year contract they were asking for, and that would have been the more convenient job. That would have been the convenient option. Number one, I owned a home already. Okay, I owned a home already. Number two, it was literally only about, a 20-minute drive from my house? 20 to 30-minute drive from my house? But the biggest drawback for it was a children's show. And I wanted to work in movies. I wanted to work in film, right? And I talked to my very good friend, Dennis Calentes, who helped me out a lot. He really did. He has a really high position at Ubisoft right now. But we went over the options of what each opportunity would bring. And again, the biggest thing about that one was it was the most convenient for the family. That particular job there, I could stay at home, don't have to move, get some work experience, maybe learn how to work in the film side. Maybe learn how to work on the film side, on the side, maybe. And it would have been, it was the most family-friendly option. So he was actually suggesting I take that job, okay? And then we had the Vancouver job. So Vancouver, for you guys who don't know, who are a little international, don't know where Vancouver is, compared to Toronto, the flight is like going from New York to California. So one side of the US to the other. The flight is like flying from Toronto, Canada to England. Okay, so 6 hour. It's a 6-hour flight. It's about the same. 5 to 6 hour flight. Okay, for going from Toronto. So it's the other side of the country, right? That's how far Vancouver is. Now, we were actually lucky in the sense that me and my wife, we actually came back from a trip to Vancouver. So we went to the Philippines, and then we stopped over in Vancouver. We decided to stay for a week because we have a cousin there. We have a cousin who lives in Vancouver. And an aunt, and we stayed with them for a week. And then me and my wife, we went there, and we enjoyed it. We liked Vancouver a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time, and the scenery in Vancouver, like you couldn't beat it. Like we're in the world. You could you look through the buildings. Well, we're in the world. I'm sure there's plenty of places in the world like this, but yeah, there's not a lot in Canada like this where you look through the buildings and then you see all the mountains through the buildings, and on the other side you look on the other side and you see the ocean on the other side. It's gorgeous. Vancouver is a gorgeous, gorgeous place to live. And so we stayed there for a week, and we just had a blast. We had a wonderful time there. So in Vancouver, I would have a place to live already because I could stay with my aunt while I was over there while we tried to figure things out, while I try out the job, because that was one thing. Like, if it didn't work out, if the Vancouver job didn't work out, we could have always came back to Toronto. And number two, it was working on a project I was way more excited about. I wanted to work on Stargate. I wanted to work on an actual television show, live action television. That was more the job I wanted, as opposed to doing an animated feature, where if I wanted to work on a live action, it would have happened a lot slower. Now, I'm sure it would have happened eventually. I'm sure I would have ended up getting a job because, they do work on a lot of live action shows in the Toronto area. I'm sure it would have worked out. But, it was very intriguing to me. So that's when I decided, we thought about it a lot. We sat on it for a while. I flew back and I visited the studio, and it was great being on set. It was great because this was the only time, guys, where the visual effects department was actually where they filmed the show. That's very rare. That's very rare. You never really see that in visual effects, guys. They usually at the visual effects house, and then they just send them the footage. They're like, you can't go and walk on set. I was actually able to walk on the Stargate set. And if you actually look up my vlogs, my old vlogs from back then, guys, if look up James, let me see if I can do that right now. James Raiz vlog. Let me see if I can do that right now. James Raiz vlog. Or blog, not vlog, blog. That was my Filipino coming out. Oh, what's your blog? Your blog? No, blog. No, blog? The blog. Blog with the B. B as in ban. B as in vice versa. Okay, that's my Filipino. Anyway, if you go, yes, it comes up right away. If you go James Raiz blog with a B, okay, you click on that, you can actually see some pictures. Oh, first of all, you can see some stills of my animated movie there. There's actually still, you know what? I'll show you guys this. I'm going to show you guys this very quickly, okay? I'm going to show you guys this very, very quickly here. So this is my old blog here, right? And these are stills from my blog here, okay? So if you click on this was the Megatron model that I did. This is the Megatron I told you guys I made. Look how old is Maya. Maya 8, guys. Maya 8. This is like 10 generations ago, Maya. But this was the Megatron model I made, okay? And then this is stills from my short film. You see this? Look at this wheelchair, this hyper wheelchair, right? Look at that. This was so much fun to make. And as you can see here, like the rendering's not the best in the world. But you see, I modeled him off the rock. You see that, guys? You see that? Gotta model him off the rock. The skin texture, I actually really like the skin texture I made here. It's actually pretty cool. But then you see the type of, you could tell here, guys, I was very influenced by Star Wars, right? It's very Star Warsy, right? Even stuff like this, it's very reminiscent of the prequels. So he was made in the prequel era. So what happens is, in this particular short film, the wheelchair goes berserk and he falls out the window. And then he gets a new body. And then this is the new body that he gets right here. This is the new body he gets right here. Okay, so for those of you on the podcast, you won't be able to. So, here's the short film, guys. If you want to watch the short film, hey, guys, let's watch it. Why not? Okay, for those of you on Instagram, you won't be able to see this, but let's go ahead and watch this short film. Why not? Let's do it. Okay, we're going to watch this short film. Oh, it's unavailable. It's private, guys. Oh, it's private. It's private. Okay, but okay, anyway. I'll unprivate it, guys. You can watch it later. You can watch it another time. But if you go back to my vlog here, Stargate. Here we go. So this is my old vlog here. Well, welcome vlog. Look at this. January 20. So this is me at MGM. Look at that young fella there. Look at this young guy. Look at this young guy, ready to take on the world. Look at this dude here. For those of you, let me see Instagram if you guys want to watch this. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so people on Instagram, just bear with me. Just bear with me as I'm showing this here. This is the Instagram. Oh, look at this. That's even the old MGM. Oh no, that's the old MGM sign. Look at this, Stargate, SG1, Atlantis. And then this is me and my family on the set. On the set of Stargate. You see this? This is us on the set of Stargate here. Look at my young daughter here. Look at her. Look at her. Look at this cutie. She's 18 now, guys. She's turning 18. This is my young daughter here. This is my wife, my late wife here. And this is us. This is my mom. My mom's here, actually. This is us on the set of Stargate here. And this is Starscream from the movie. There they go. And that was a lot of fun. That was a lot. You can actually read the vlog. It's actually pretty cool. I wish, actually, that I continued this blog. I think it would have been big. Look at my daughter here. Look at my daughter here. She's turning 18 this year, man. This is my daughter here. Look at this. She's turning 18 this year. Believe that? But yeah. Oh, here's another pic here. Here's another pic. Oh, this one won't open. This pic won't open. But anyway, guys. That was my first job at Stargate. So we decided to move. And let me go back to the chat here so I can see you guys. So there you go. So I wasn't lying, guys. I wasn't lying. I actually worked at Stargate. There's the proof. There's the proof I was working at Stargate, guys. But anyway. And by the way, what's going to make this Barney is the colors. It's pretty much Godzilla, but the colors. But that ultimately made me decide. I felt the potential for the future was much greater if we went over there. And to be honest, it was something new. We wanted to try something new in our lives, and it was the best thing that we could have done, for sure. It was the best things we could have done. Let's see here. But by the way, Brian, ZHC is still one of my friends, good friends to this day. So yeah, he's just talking about Mr. Beast and Zach. But yeah, me and Zach go way back. You could go look at our history. But anyway, yeah. So that's what we decided to do, guys. I decided, look, when am I going to get this opportunity again? If I were to stay and take the other job, it would have led to the same thing. It would have led to me possibly going to Vancouver. Let's try something new. We're young, my youngest daughter, she wasn't in school yet. So why not? Why not give it a shot? Why not try it for once? And then that's what we did. It made the most sense. So I actually moved to Vancouver by myself first. Okay. Because I needed to make sure that the job was stable and that I could make it work. Okay, so I wanted to live there for at least 6 months to make sure before we go and sell our house, because we had a house at the time, before we went and sell our house, before we, before we move our whole life over to the other side, let me make sure that I could sustain my life. Now, my wife was able to find a job easily over there, okay, because she found the equivalent to her job. On that side, they had an equivalent. So she actually took a leave of absence from her work. So that we could move over there. So I went there by myself for 6 months, and I lived with my aunt over there. And it was just great. So I worked at Stargate for a few months. That was my first contract. I worked there for 6 months. And then when my contract was up, I went back to Toronto, for a little bit. But then I got another job at a company called Anthem. And I'll go more in detail about the actual visual effects side another time. I'll let you guys know what it was actually like working there another time. And then, 6 months later, then I moved my entire family over. And we lived there for 3 years before we had to go back to Toronto. I'll let you know why we ended up coming back here to Toronto afterwards. But I think it was the right decision for us. Part of me thinks if any regret, what it would have been worth the sacrifice to move to the U.S. and things definitely would have turned out a lot different. And you never know what would have happened if we went there. I will say though that because of the condition of my wife and with the health care that's in the U.S., I would have way preferred to be in Canada. If everything that had my wife, I'm glad we were in Canada. Because guys, the surgery my wife had, her first surgery, she had 2 tumors removed from her brain. In Canada, that's free. I didn't have to pay a dime here. It's just we went to the doctor. Like, people complain about the high taxes in Canada, and you're right, taxes are super high here. But that surgery my wife had to get the tumors out of her brain, that would have cost me hundreds of thousands. I would have had to sell my house, guys. I would have literally had to sell my house to get the money for that surgery, to get the tumors out, tumors out of her brain. And it was free. It was literally free, guys. I didn't pay a dime. And that's because of the taxes we pay. That's because our healthcare is free here. For the most part, there's some things, of course, you got to pay for here and there, but the surgery is free. Unless you had health insurance, it depends where you are, EDC. But what's the guarantee? What would have happened if I was in between jobs and I didn't have it? Right? What would happen? So you'll never hear me complain about the taxes here in Canada. You'll never hear me complain. I could break my arm tomorrow, no problem, free, fix it up. I'll break my arm twice, no problem, fix it up tomorrow. Even if you have insurance in the States, guys, you still need to pay a premium. My buddy, I have a buddy who moved to the U.S. I had a friend who moved to the U.S. He's working for Netflix now. Okay, so he has great insurance, fantastic insurance. His son broke his arm. He still had to pay $3,000 before the insurance kicked in. He had to pay $3,000 before the insurance kicked in. You believe that? And the surgeries my wife would have had, and all the treatments that we would have had, I would have had to sell my house, guys. There's no way. But again, that's just me being a Canadian, being here in Canada. But you'll never hear me ever complain about the taxes here. It's a lot of tax, guys. It's a lot. It's 25%. It's a lot of taxes. But it more than made up for it. Like, everything I went through, like all the doctor visits, all the thing, I never had to think twice about a treatment because it was free, right? Right? So, yeah, EDC. And you know what, EDC, I'm going to tell you, let's hope you never have to experience anything I had to with my family, okay? Yep. So 25% isn't bad, right? It isn't bad. You ask someone in the States, though, that's really bad. Like in Florida, there's no income tax, right? In Florida, in Texas too, I believe, right? There's no income tax. There's no income tax. So to them, that's a lot of tax, right? Yeah, of course, right? So, and that's the thing, you never know. Now there are people who never experience that, and then yeah, that's definitely not worth it, right? But now, especially for me now, I understand now. My kids have the same genes as my wife. So they are more susceptible to having, to getting cancer one day. I got to be prepared for that. Let's hope it never happens. But I need to be prepared that, God forbid, that happens to my kids, right? I got to be prepared. So. But anyway, that's my story. So in terms of, and again, I didn't mean to turn this into living in Canada versus the U.S. type of thing. But again, at the same time, looking back at it now, right now, to be honest, it probably would have been worth the sacrifice to try to live in the U.S. because I probably don't have that opportunity anymore, right? I probably don't have that opportunity anymore to work in the U.S. And which is fine. I'm totally happy where I am. Oh, EDC says total tax of 30%. Well, there you go. There you go, my friend. But and I'm super glad you have a wonderful insurance policy. That's fantastic. Like a lot of you young kids watching, you have no idea what we're talking about, nor do you care. But it matters. It matters when you grow up. Trust me. It matters when you grow up, okay? So this is adult talk. We're talking about here. This is adult talk. So there are some things that like our healthcare doesn't cover. For example, like dental, we like to have a good dental plan. Uh, what's it called? Stuff like glasses, stuff like that. But that's part of life. That's part of life, right? Care Bear lives in California, used to taxes. Absolutely. There you go, right? So I will say I am curious. I won't say I regret it. I am curious what would have happened if I did move to the US. I am curious. Now you never know. Maybe when my kids are, because guys, my kids are in the middle of school right now. Like it would be very selfish for me to pick up everything and move when my son's starting high school, my youngest daughter, she's in middle school right now. Like it'd be very selfish for me to just pick up and move and then like make them change their friends when I don't really need to. But maybe one day, when my kids are out of school or my kids are off, like we're talking maybe a good 10 years from now. If my kids are, they're fine on their own, they're doing well on their own. And then I want to give the States a try. Maybe. How old will I be in 10 years, guys? I'll be 55. Can I be a junior artist at Lucasfilm at 55, maybe? Would they hire me? I would have to go back to school. But I will say probably when I'm 55 years old, I'm gonna once my kids all move out and 10 years from now, I always ask my visual effects friends what's your dream retirement plan? And usually none of them want anything to do with visual effects at all at the end. Okay. And we'll talk more about that in another stream. But a lot of them have I have a friend of mine. He's a matte painter like me. But his dream is to go have like a farm. go have like a farm. EDC, that's funny. He wants to go have a farm and sell vegetables on the side. That's his retirement plan. For me, 10 years from now, once my kids are out and moved on, with their families, I probably would sell this house because why would I need a bigger house for, right? Sell this house, get myself a condo. I don't have to shovel the driveway anymore. Me and my wife always talked about like getting a place on Vancouver Island because Vancouver Island is beautiful, right? Like we talked about that was our retirement plan initially. We were going to get a place in Vancouver Island, just go over there, stay near the water. I'm not sure if I would do that. I probably would be. I probably would try to stay a little bit closer to the family. But I definitely don't need the big house anymore. So I'll probably sell this house. Maybe go buy a condo. Go buy a condo downtown. Just and even draw. Traditionally draw, guys. Nobody would buy it at that time. By that time, they'll probably come up with AI original art. That's what they're going to come up with by that time. But just go and draw. Do my work for church and yeah, that's it. And that would be life for me. I'm done. Like once my kids grow up and they go out, I'm done. Life's done. I think like even now, like it's like. Even now, like I have no aspirations anymore of, being like this, like 10 million subscribed channel. I have no aspirations of being this world famous artist or anything like. I have no more. I won't say I've had any more goals, but those don't excite me anymore. They don't excite me at all. Like to be like a famous YouTuber, 3 years ago, yes. Yes, it did. 3, 4 years ago when I was trying to hit that million, sure. But then now that I'm here, and I'm not saying I'm famous or anything like that, but now that I got the success I did on this platform, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not, I'm not clamoring for more people to follow me. I'm not clamoring, I'm not even clamoring for more money or anything, guys. I'm just, I'm just living life at the same time. So that's and again, that guys, that's why I do these streams every morning. Okay, that's why I do these streams every morning. It's not good for my channel that I'm doing these streams. It's not good for the channel. Well, it's a lot better than what it was, I'd say, about 5 years ago, because before the live videos would mix with the regular videos, right? But nowadays, when people are actually going to when they're going to the homepage as opposed to subscription to watch videos, it doesn't matter I live stream as much anymore. But it actually makes more sense for me to do this on my live stream channel than this channel. But you know what? I'm at the point where I don't care. I don't care anymore. I just want to get up every morning, hang out with you all guys, because you're all awesome. And there you go. Brian has a lot of questions. We could definitely talk, my friend. We could definitely talk for sure. We'll get there, man. We'll get there, man. But that's not life to me anymore. Like I have no. It's very interesting. I'm at a point in my life where if you would have asked me a year ago, even just a year ago, when we were preparing for life to change, I had these huge aspirations, and you guys know this. You guys know this. In that initial live stream that I did, right? My first live stream I did after my wife passed. I had all these big goals and ambitions, right? I was going to start this multimedia company. I was going to start, start all these channels. I'm hiring all these people. I'm going to make these comic books. I'm going to make this documentary. Like, I had all these plans. And now doesn't interest me at all, in the least. No interest whatsoever. Now it feels like if I were to do those things, guys, it feels like work now. It feels like I'm doing it because I have to, not because I want to. So I really had to step back, take a deep look in the mirror, and look, is this what I really want? Is this really what I really want to do? And the answer is no, it's not. So my priorities changed a lot. My priorities in life, my priorities in business, it's different now. It's different now. So we'll see. We'll see. You never know. I'm not saying I won't do those things, guys. I'm not saying I won't do those things, but it just doesn't interest me anymore. Maybe it will one day. Maybe it will again. But for now, I'm happy just being here in front of you guys. No matter how many of you are watching right now on all these platforms, I'm just happy hanging out here. I'm just happy, just here drawing, telling my stories. I got a lot of stories, guys. I've been doing this for a long time. A lot of stories, and hopefully my journey can, I won't say inspire you, but even tell you what not to do sometimes. Like what I did in comics. Don't do what I did in comics, guys. Don't do what I did there, okay? Don't do what I did. Hopefully you can learn from that, or inspire you to try something new and try something different, where things might work out a little bit different than you thought, right? So that is my second school journey. Okay, we talked before about when I took a technical illustration, but that was my journey the second time around in school. Okay, so I won't go too deep into my visual effects journey because we'll save that for another day, because that is like another 5-hour story all on its own. My experience working in visual effects. So we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, that was my journey into film, how I got into film. Okay. I think it was worth it, man. I think it was worth it. Film is definitely quite a different job. It's a very different creative outlet. And, I always thought that modeling, 3D modeling, not modeling. Maybe I'll be a regular model one day, right? That's my model walk, by the way. That's my walk. Maybe. But I thought modeling was a perfect job for me. But I'll explain that in a different stream. We'll definitely do that. EDC says, "What did you do in comics?" I was a penciler, my friend. You can look it up. Just look up James Raiz comics or James Raiz. You could write in James Raiz Transformers, and you'll see a lot of the comic book work I've done over the years. I was a comic book penciler I've been working off and on for 6 years as a comic book penciler. So. That wasn't the last time, though. 2006, I had a cup of coffee with IDW later on in 2012. I think I told you guys that between jobs and when I was starting to decide to do YouTube. Yeah, definitely a long career in comics. I won't say a long career, but a career. Let's not call it long career. A career in comics. So there you go. There you go. Let's see. Oh, I mean, what did I do that you should avoid? Well, for that story I told you right now, don't just say yes to any project. That's a number one lesson. Well, again, I could probably save that for a stream because I could talk about that all stream. What mistakes did I do that you should avoid? Well, if there's one you should take away from what I did there, don't take more projects than you can handle. Say no. Say no. And no, Hasbro doesn't own IDW, by the way. Like, they don't. IDW licensed Transformers from them and G.I. Joe, but they lost that license. They don't do those anymore. I don't know who has the license now. I think doesn't what's it called? Skybound? Doesn't Skybound have the Transformers license now? I think they have the Transformers license now. IDW lost it. I think Brian would actually know more than me. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Skybound now owns the license to Transformers and G.I. Joe, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, if there's one thing to take away from my story, guys, number one, I'd say the number one thing you could take away, if you say yes to a project, and I don't care how much they're paying you, okay? I don't care if they're paying you very small. If they're paying you very small, well, you took the project. You took it. So stay true to your word. Your word is your bond, okay? Your word is your bond. If you agreed to do 3 issues to a comic, do the 3 issues. And try to do them fast and try to get out of there. That's what I would say to you, okay? If they're not paying you as much as you would like, do the 3 issues, do the best job you can, and then get out of there, okay? And then use it to try to get yourself a better paying job. That's what I should have done instead. I definitely should have done that. It was rumored to be Skybound, but nothing's confirmed. I bet Apple knows. Apple knows. Good morning, Apple. Good morning. Good to see you, my brother. You like my Barney? You like my Barney here? The Skybound, you know who owns the Transformers license now? Because IDW, it's up. I know that. IDW is up. We know whoever bought the license outbid IDW by lots. Well, if there's anyone who deserves, who has the money to do that, Skybound probably would be one of those places, for sure. But we'll see. Coolest Barney ever. Thank you, my friend. Well, you're the coolest Apple ever. Let me say that. Let me say that much. But you're the coolest dude in general, Apple. You know that. You know that, my brother. So anyway. So that's one thing I would say that you could learn from my experience. Okay. Number 2, don't be afraid to try new things. I could have, when my wife said, why don't you try to go into visual effects? I could have just stuck to my guns and say, no, I'm a comic book artist. I only draw comics. I don't do film. And that would have closed a lot of doors. That would have closed a world of experiences that I've had over the years. Okay. So if there's another thing you should learn is be open to try other things. Be open to try other things, right? You might miss a whole world of art out there if you don't try it. I'm a comic book artist. I'm only a comic book artist. Well, you haven't tried the other things. So you try the other things. Maybe there's other things that you might be good at in art anyway. So be open to that. When I went into college, guys, when I went into college the first time around, because I didn't get into the animation program, the only thought I had was I'm going to be a comic book artist. I'm going to be a comic book artist. I'm going to be nothing but a comic book artist for the rest of my life. And that changed. And that changed royally to the point where I do not want to be a comic book artist right now. No sirree, Bob. Now, okay, I'll take that back. I'll push back on that just a little bit. Like if Marvel came up to me and said, James, do like a quick short story, I'll admit I'll be a little intrigued about maybe doing one, but more because of the content aspect of it. Like what kind of content can I make out of that? What kind of TikToks? What kind of YouTube videos can I make about the experience? That intrigues me more than actually doing the comic itself. That intrigues me more, right? Hey, Apple, I got an idea. Apple, I got an idea. You up for an idea, Apple? I'll just give this idea to you, brother. I'll just give this idea to you. Apple, I got an idea for the Houston Comic Con. I got an idea. If you're up for it. Is Apple there? Is Apple there, brother? Apple, are you there? I'm not going to tell you my idea unless Apple's here. If Apple's not, Apple went back to bed. Oh, he's here. Okay. You want to hear? Okay, here's my idea. Okay, I know, Apple, you like to do those exclusive comics. It's a thing. What if we did this? Okay, Okay. What if we put out an exclusive comic for that Comic-Con, and I finally get my chance to break that record? Get yourself, I don't know, whatever Marvel crossover or whatever DC crossover, and I'm going to break the record. Or I could do this. Apple. Instead of breaking the record for that comic cover, and this is the record I wanted to break 20 years ago, guys. This is the record I wanted to break 20 years ago. I wanted to break the record of 562 characters on a comic book cover, held by George Perez and Alex Ross. Either I break that record, or I do 561 because I want George Perez to keep that record. So you do an exclusive cover, Apple. You do an exclusive cover for our Houston Comic Con, where I break the record for the most characters on a cover, and I will document the whole thing on this channel. I will draw the whole thing on this channel. And then everybody come to Comic-Con. You meet me. You're going to see that cover, right? I was thinking about doing that here. I actually talked to which comic do I want, Marvel or DC? Oh, which one has more characters? Which one will be more popular at the time? That's my bigger question. Which one would be more popular at the time? I think part of me wants to say Marvel because they did it with DC characters, right? So part of me wants to say Marvel. Part of me wants to say Marvel. Because George Perez and Alex Ross, they did a DC one, right? So I'm just thinking out loud. It was an idea I had. I actually wanted to produce that myself before. I was thinking about partnering with Carlos here at Gotham Central about doing that here, but I don't know if logistically I could do that by myself, right? So Marvel has a movie too that weekend, eh? I don't know, just an idea. We'll work out the logistics. It was just an idea I thought about, Like, wouldn't that be cool? And then I'd come there, and then everybody come sign the comic. Like, there's a whole bunch of possibilities we could do with that. It'd be very cool. Very, very cool, right? So talk about a project I'd be interested in. Talk about a project that I could do with you guys here online. I'm going to work on breaking that record. You know what I mean? And then, of course, Apple has a product that will do very well for him. I'm positive that would do very well for him at Houston Comic Con, right? So, yeah, just an idea I had. Would you guys be interested in that? Would you guys be interested in that? Hello, everybody on Instagram, by the way. Hello, everybody on Instagram. Sorry I haven't talked to you at all during the stream. At all. I got to find a way to interact with the Instagrammers here. Okay, let's go. Let's go, my brother. We'll talk more. We'll definitely talk more about it. Okay, we'll plan. We'll plan for it. Again, probably something I won't start till the new year. So it might be one of those things where I'll start the stream off, and we'll do a few characters, and then I would get into the other drawing type thing. So working on it a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit everywhere. You know. So, would you guys be interested in that? Would you guys like to see that? That'd be cool, right? Let's see here. TP Stroma said, make all Pokemons. I did that already, man. I did that already. So that would be fun. That would be fun. Let's see here. Brian says, what if you had all your subscribers send you their pictures and you draw them all in a mural? Are you talking about like your actual image, my friend, or are you talking about their characters? Their characters. There's some logistical issues with that, my friend. There's some logistical issues. As cool as that would be, and as fun of a reward that would be to a lot of you guys who are who are here every day. The issue comes in, Brian, if I put somebody in that piece and then they do something stupid, right? They do something dumb, like for example, like they go and they commit a crime, and now they're in the piece. Now, of course, we could always remove them, but then the past episodes would have them in there. That's the only issue I have. That's the issue I have with drawing any influencer right now. Because next thing you know, they're on the news because they broke the law, right? That's the issue. But then I drew them. You know what I mean? That'd be the issue I have with that, right? So that would be the thing. But I would do it with you. Now let me ask you this, guys: if I were to do that, should I actually break the record? Or should I do what I say I'm going to do and just do 561 characters? 561 characters and let George Perez keep that record forever, which I would love for him to do. I would love for him to. Would it be more of a tribute for him to allow him to keep that record? Or would it be more of a tribute to break the record? Let me ask you that. What do you guys think? So definitely something to think about. There you go. By the way, Sir Galahad was the one who suggested we do this today. So thank you so much, Sir Galahad. Fantastic suggestion. You know why this is fun for me? It's something different than what we've been doing. We've been doing a lot of muscles. And of course, I couldn't get by without giving Godzilla some muscles, Barney some muscles here. Couldn't get by without giving him some muscles here, but Apple, because Apple actually knows George Perez. He knows George Perez. He said he would push artists to be great and go beyond. Yeah, you know what? I think added George as the last. Yeah, add George to be the record-breaking last character. That would be cool. It's too bad they don't have JLA versus Avengers out, right? Then I can draw everybody. How long would that take? Nicholas, if we actually did this, I would start in January. Do a little bit every day. So it wouldn't be one thing where I'd be working 24, 25 hours a day. It would be 25 hours a day. It would be something that I would be working a little bit. You guys would follow the process. I would have you guys even suggest the characters that I would do. So So definitely, right? Brian says George Perez's final work was a sheet cover for the book I helped produce. Right on. It was really good. He was really good friends with him as well. Oh, that's awesome, man. With Billy Tucci. Right on, man. Right on. That's pretty cool. See see stuff like that excites me. That makes me, because it's something I can do at home. I'm going to the Comic-Con anyway. Uh, it's something, I know it also helped my buddy Apple out, it gives people incentive to go to that particular con, Apple, now you're talking. I like that idea. You got both Marvel and DC titles and covers tonight. But then would that break the record, Apple? Would that break the record? Because technically it's not one cover. Right? Now, what record that would break would be the current single issue. Because I think the current single issue is held by G.I. Joe, if I'm not mistaken. The current single issue is only like a couple hundred, something like that. So that would break the current one, but I'm not sure if that would break the record, because the whole point would be to break the record, right? So as fun unless I break it twice. Oh my god, I break it twice. How many characters would I have to do to break it twice? A month. How many? Let's look at that. I would break the thing twice. What's up with that? This is an exciting stream, guys. Now we're talking. I would break the record twice. Oh boy. Apple always pushes me to do more than I'm willing to do. You know what I mean? Because when I did the original Star Wars mural, originally when Apple promised me to bring it to Alamo City Comic-Con, the initial thought was that it was going to be in like October, if I was mistaken. But then it got pushed, and it wasn't Apple's fault. That was the availability of the place they wanted. It was pushed up to May, which worked even better because it coincided with. So, by the way, 562. It coincided with the anniversary of Star Wars, so it actually made a lot more sense to do it in May. But it pushed me to actually. I should have done the math easy in my head, right? That's 3 months per cover. So divided by 3. So I have to do like 100-something characters a month, which isn't bad for me, right? But anyway, divided by 2. Oops. What am I doing? Times 2. Oh, sorry. 563. So Apple, again, is pushing me not to just break it once, but break it twice. Oh, there you go. 1,162, 26 characters. Divided by 6 months is about 200 characters a month, which isn't bad. Yeah. Which isn't bad. If you think about it, it's not bad, considering I've done, I've done all those, 100 character things in a month, right? There was a point where I was doing a couple of those videos a month. It's actually not bad. Not bad. It would take a lot of time. It would stop me from doing like stuff like this. But I will admit that's super cool. It's a super cool idea. It's a very, very, very cool idea. Because the thing is, I would have to get it done earlier, right, Apple? When would I need to get it done in time for you to send it to the printer? Yeah, we got to get it colored and printed, right? What colorist would be crazy enough to take on that project? This might actually be one of those I might have to color myself. I'm not sure how good it would look with the Copics though, right? So it's one of those ones where, because that would cost me an arm and a leg if I were to get like somebody like Thomas to color this for me. That's probably all the profits of your comic. If you did. Wes Hartman, who I've worked with before, Wes would do it, but how much would it cost to get Wes to do it? Wow. Yeah, I know Wes. Wes colored my Alamo City Comic Con. No, that was the Cyber City Comic Con, right? He colored my Cyber City Comic Con piece and did a fantastic job on it, right? But who would be crazy enough to take on that coloring gig, right? Like, if anything, if there was to be a person I would hire, it'd be more of a flatter, because that would be cheaper, right? To get a flatter, and then I would do the final. You know, that might work better. But yep, Wes is great, right? Right, Wes is awesome. Price would be crazy, right? Be crazy. So you know, we kind of have two options here. Like we could go that route, or I could Copic color the cover and then try to adjust it. Now, one of the reasons the Copic coloring excites me is because, number one, I'm doing it all myself. I'm definitely doing it all myself if I Copic color it. But again, thinking about the actual quality itself, it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad, but I'm on the professional level of somebody coloring it like a Wes Hartman, of course, coloring it. That's the big difference. So let's chew on that apple. We'll talk. We'll really figure that out. So, wow, we're making some deals here on the Box Office Artist Podcast this morning. There you go, guys. This is the new, guys. This is the new mural. This is the new Star Wars mural. Or it might be one of those things where I alternate every day. So one day I'll work on like just a piece just to get me creatively ready. And then the next day I'll be working on the thing. There's multiple ways we could do this, guys. There's multiple ways. And we just got to figure out which one's the best, right? Maybe Brian, maybe. Or maybe Omi. Yeah, maybe Omi. Fellow Filipino. Fellow Filipino there, maybe. We'll see, guys. We'll see. We'll see what the best options are. Me and Apple will talk. We'll talk, brother. We'll talk. But talk about incentive. And it helps in a couple fold. Number one, it helps people actually, hopefully that's a great incentive for people to go to Alamo Comic-Con. We have a product to sell for years to come, right? And it's just not your regular in the mill, regular out of the mill, exclusive cover. Like, we're talking about a record-breaking cover if people come and buy it, like an Alamo, Houston Comic-Con exclusive, right? So, by the way, what mall is better, Mall of Asia or Mega Mall? MOA or Mega Mall? I think I'm more of a MOA fan. Which one has the? They're about the same. To be honest, they're about the same to me. I think I had my signing in Mega Mall, if I'm not mistaken. But I think I'll go MOA. I like both a lot, but I'll go MOA. I'll go Mall of Asia. Anyway, guys. Wow, we're making some moves and deals here in the Box Office Artist Podcast, right? Now I'm excited, guys. I'm excited. Because I never got that opportunity. Brian wants to buy that original art, but Brian... Well, it depends on how big I make this thing, man. Because you know me, guys. You know me. If we're doing 500, 600 characters per, it's not going to be a double page splash. I'm telling you right now. It's not going to be a double page splash. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. Okay? Now, we could do, to make it reasonable, we could do like 8 boards maybe per cover. Like, if we were going to do a wraparound cover, and I'm just thinking out loud here, maybe Apple could let me know the logistics about this. If we did like a wraparound cover, so 8 boards, because 4 boards would be the equivalent size of like a comic cover, right? So if we did 4, or depending on how much you want to spend, Apple, we could do like a gatefold. So it would be each cover would be 16 boards. So it would make it 32, which is light years smaller than the original mural, but I'm thinking like a fold out like X-Men #1, right? Exactly, Brian. That's what I'm thinking. Like a fold out. I know that costs more to produce, but we're hoping that this is going to sell like crazy, right? We're hoping that the price on this would sell, that it would be worth it in the end for Apple for sure. Worth it in the end, like because thinking about the logistics of a gatefold cover. Like there's more to it than just saying, hey, yeah, I'd love to do a triple gatefold cover, of course, right? Or you could always say that, but thinking about the logistics and the price and how we do it, because it is twofold here. Like I would like to, maybe an Apple, me and Apple will talk about the logistics of the deal, but I would like the opportunity to also sell these as a giant print as well at the con, as well as smaller prints. Like there's also something needed for me to sell on my end as well. But again, me and Apple will work out those details, right? But we'll see here. You're in Houston, right, Brian? Brian, are you in? You're in what's it called? You're in Texas, right, Brian? Chris Gorn wants me to say something in Spanish. See. See, my friend. See. Oh, he's in Arkansas. There you go. That's exciting, man. It's always exciting when we come up with the stuff online and we'll actually execute it online, and having to make it an official comic, right? Like how cool is that, right? How cool. Because again, I was thinking about it, doing it with a local comic, because this is an idea I had for quite a while, actually. It's an idea I had for quite a while, and again, I was going to do it with a local comic shop owner, but to be honest, there's no one I would rather do this with than with Apple, because Apple has done so much for my career over the years. There's no question. The one I would rather do this with is Apple, for sure. So break the record twice. Now that actually works better logistically for YouTube for me. You know why? Because that means I would finish one cover first, right? I would finish one cover first from January to March, and then finish the second one from April to June, right? Now, I will assume I will need to get this done by what? End of May? Apple, if not a little bit earlier, end of May. So having like a midway point where I'm actually done one of the covers, midway, that's very intriguing to me, It's very intriguing to me. So exciting, guys. Exciting times here on the Box Office Artist Podcast, on the Box Office Artist Morning Show. Hello, Kilber Amazuki. Kilber Amazuki, how are you, Paul? Hello. Good to see you. What's the best marker? Well, depends who pays me. But my friends at Sakura, they've been supplying my markers for a long time. Like you guys know, I used to use the other brand. That other brand. That smelly brand. There you go. Used all, but these ones here, these are the ones that I like to use the most. So whatever you see me do here on the channel, yeah. Thank you guys. I haven't been this excited for a comic book project in a while. I haven't been. This sounds like a lot of fun. I'm very excited. Very excited to do this. So thank you guys. Thank you. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good time, my friends. We're gonna have a great time putting this together. Okay, let me see his eyes. See Barney's eyes here. Barney's eyes. So, where's my Barney reference? I lost my Barney reference because I got so excited. Oh boy. There you go. We'll see, Brian. We'll see how it goes. Let me talk to Apple first. We'll work out the logistics of it. We'll definitely work out the logistics. Because again, just an idea that I've been sitting on for the long. Like I was thinking about even doing this myself, guys. I was thinking about producing it myself, and then because we did talk to Carlos about how to do that. Because there's a lot of artists out there that this is what they do. They actually just make exclusive covers and then sell them. Like J. Scott Campbell does that a lot. And to me, like making covers like this, it's way easier than doing an actual full comic. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's way easier, way easier. So. So let's see. Maybe talk about a guy that what if it was a collab with what's his name? Color with Kurt. I get Color with Kurt to do it. I'm trying to think of YouTubers that could benefit a lot so we don't have to pay an arm and a leg, No, again, Wes is a fantastic option just because number one, I worked with him before. And number two, Apple is a good friend of his as well. So I don't know, guys. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, you could do a comic full of covers and a story page. That has crossed my mind, Beowulf. I actually had that idea because definitely not the first one to do that. I believe Jim Lee did that once. He did an issue of Stormwatch. He did an issue of Stormwatch where it was all splash pages. So I definitely have thought about that. I have definitely thought about of making a comic that's all splash pages as opposed to doing like some sequential art. That has crossed my mind. But yeah, we'll see. So what I'm gonna do now is what time is it now, guys? It's 6:50. We have about an hour. I might because tomorrow I'm gonna add his friends. I'm gonna add Barney's friends to the side here. So I'm just gonna add just a little bit more detail to the first streams. I'm always a little bit more lax. It's like when you're working on comic books. The first few pages, you're just relaxed. You're just adding whatever you want, and then it's not till the deadline pops up. You're like, oh, gotta work, right? Good work. So. Tomorrow's stream will probably be more like that. This one's a little bit more, just relaxing, just hanging out. But let me go ahead and I'm gonna just add a few more things. So let me add a couple of buildings here, guys. I wanted to add some buildings here, like they're gonna break it down, and then work on this outline just a little bit, So. So, Brian, you're into the comic games. Can I ask you, what special event does Marvel have? Do they have a special event coming out around that time? Or is there something that they're building towards right now in comics? Like, I don't have my ear to the ground in comics right now. So maybe you would know better than me. If there's like any special events or anything that would be good for. Like a comic that... having a cover like that would make sense. Like, to be honest, you could probably do any Avengers cover, like any Avengers issue and any JLA issue or Justice League issue. You could probably just do that, but I don't know if there's any special events that's on the way that people are talking about. But I haven't seen anything. Okay, that's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll work out the logistics of it. So. Anyway, guys, that's what these streams are for. You never know what's going to happen on the Box Office Artist live stream. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, my friend. That's what I'm saying. There you go. You know what, Care Birth? I had that idea also. I didn't know people did it already. I actually had that idea. I was actually keeping that idea to myself. But if people have done it already, then that was my idea. That was my idea. I was gonna do like all of these splash pages, but then the splash pages you could take them apart and actually put it together and it becomes one big poster. I actually thought about doing that before too, but yeah, whatever. No ideas original anymore, guys. No ideas. That's why, they always say, like ideas are one thing. They are important, but they're not the whole thing. What's more important is the execution. Like we have this great idea for this cover, but it means nothing if I don't do it. It really means nothing if I don't do it. So, Christopher threw in a super chat. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, my friend. Christopher Collins, a long time viewer of this channel. Been around ever since the Star Wars mural days. He goes, I would love a cover with a massive space battle from multiple universes on it. Includes Star Wars, Star Trek, Alien, Babylon 5, and more. Maybe that's the year after's Comic-Con. Maybe we'll do that the next year. All right? We could do that. If this is a success, me and Apple will be doing a lot more of these. I'll tell you that much. There you go. So that's a great idea, my friend. That's a great idea. It's a way to do a crossover without doing a crossover. I love that idea Apple just had there. It's a way to do a crossover. Like we do these two connected covers. The companies won't know. We won't advertise it. People are like, oh, these fit together. Or they won't know unless they buy my print of them together. Woo! Now we're talking. Now we're talking, folks. No. We'll never tell them they connect so that the companies are happy. But, if you look hard enough, if you look close enough, kind of connect. If you look close enough. The answer is no. Never met a CEO. They kind of connect. Oh, does Barney have pants? I don't think so, right? Barney doesn't have pants. Barney. No, he doesn't. It's just green and purple, right? So it's just a matter of where the green and the purple is going to happen, right? So, for example, this is the line probably. So up here, that's all purple. And then this would be green. So there you go. Chris Gorin says, how do you draw so well? I would like to know. Experience, my friend. Experience. And I always tell this to young artists, like, don't ever get discouraged about artists you see online, especially if you're young, because you have a lot of time to learn. Remember, a lot of these guys that you see working in comics right now, working, we've been doing this for a long time. Like Jazz is on 10 years on YouTube now, right? He hit his 10-year anniversary this year. I'm hitting my 10th year anniversary on YouTube next year. But plus a 20+ career in professional art, right? So that's the experience talking. To be honest, today you could be even better with us just with a few prompts. Just with a few prompts. There you go. Uh-oh, Brian. Now I'm scared. So yeah. That's the thing. Someone could beat this record with a few prompts. Let me just stretch a little bit, guys. It's the morning, my friends. Morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, guys. So I have about, I'll probably just go for another 25 minutes here, guys. Again, this is the easy stream. Whenever we start a new project, it's just a little easier. Just relax. This is how comic book artists work, guys. That's the schedule of a comic book artist. A comic book artist, they get the script. They start the first week, they do 1 page. The next week, they do 2 pages. The next week after that, they do 3 pages. And then the last week, they do 25 pages. That's how it works. That's how it works in comics. Right now. Brian loves the stream. Thank you, my friend Brian. Thank you, guys. Yeah, that's right. Breaking news here on the stream. If there's no news in the world, we make our own news. But by the way, let's talk a little bit. I did want to touch on the fantastic reviews for Avatar. Guys, have you seen those reviews right now? Oh, really, Brian? That close to Brian created Baby Bop, really? But let's talk a little bit about those great reviews for Avatar, guys. Like, never sleep on James Cameron. Never sleep on James Cameron. They're saying it's an amazing movie, and I would expect nothing less. Like this movie, you know, when this movie should have came out when? When should have this movie came out? It should have came out in when the initial movie came out. I think this movie was supposed to come out like 2010, 2011. There you go. And yeah, the reviews are glowing, guys. They're glowing. I saw so many reviews yesterday. People are absolutely loving this new Avatar movie. And you know, a lot of people, you know, they were, you know, and I think that's just the cynic in all of us. Like a lot of people right away, like, no, it's not gonna do. Oh no, it was just, you know, they were like that before. But and again, to be fair, I haven't seen the movie yet, and neither have you. None of us have seen the movie yet. So for all we know, it could be one of the ones where the critics love it, and then the general audience is going to come, they're going to hate it, right? There's been a lot of that recently, for sure. But for the most part, it's very encouraging. And I'm super excited. I just watched Avatar again, like literally a couple days ago. I watched it again with the family, and it's good, man. It's a good movie. It's good. You'll call it what you want. Call it dances. Call whatever you want. It's still a good movie, man. Like, if it was just an okay movie, well, no, I'll take that back. I won't say that. Like, it's subjective, guys. If you think it was just okay, if you didn't like it, that's fine. That's totally fine. That's up to you. A lot of people liked it to the point where people are willing to watch, you know, for it to be the highest grossing movie ever, right? Yes, Endgame had their day in the sun until they did the re-release, but there you go. Yeah, exactly. I'm with Bob. I'm with Bob. I'm not rooting for it to fail, but I have no faith in most movie reviews these days. Absolutely, I agree. But it is encouraging. But then again, a lot of the reviews of other movies of other franchises had great reviews too. They didn't turn out that great. And there were some that reviewed poorly, and I thought they were okay. There's always a yin and yang. Like at the end of the day, guys, at the end of the day, it's really up to you. If you enjoyed the movie, you're right. If you thought the movie was no good, you're right. If you thought the movie was no good, and the other person thought it was good, you're both right, because that's the reaction you had. That's the reaction you genuinely have. That's your genuine reaction. You did not like the movie. You're absolutely right. You're 100% right. If I watched it and I liked it and you didn't, we're both right. Because that's genuinely how we feel. Movies are subjective. Just like art, right? Just like this Barney. Some of you are going to love this. Some of you are going to hate it. And you're both right. Some of you think this is a good drawing. Some of you think this is a bad drawing. You're both right. You're both right. So there you go. Like someone here says they dislike the video. Well, I hope you, if you dislike the video, I hope you like this video, though. I hope you like the video and dislike the video. That's what I hope you. See, my friend here doesn't like the video. They're right. They don't know how to spell, but they're right. There you go. Right? Oh, yeah. He said this channel is the wearest. The wearest. Yeah. So I don't know about you. I don't like wearing channels. You like wearing channels? I prefer to wear clothes, if you ask me. There you go. That's enough of that, dude. You're gone forever. But that's okay. That's okay. You know, he's probably waiting for me to ban him. You're not going to be banned, my friend. You can talk all you want, my friend. You can talk all you want. But let me just get in here. There you go. Anyway, the Wearist. Where? There you go. Anyway, guys, let's get back to drawing here. This is the Wearist Barney drawing I've ever seen. The Wearist. It's the Wearist. But I will agree with someone here. You know, it is, you know, when somebody says something bad about you, the first thing you go to the grammar, right? Because that's the first thing everybody goes to, right? When somebody tries to, what's it called? Insult someone, you better get your grammar right so they have nothing else to say, right? At least get your grammar right. At least get your grammar right. At least get your spelling right, because you know that's going to be the person's first rebuttal, right? It's going to be the first person rebuttal, right? That's going to be their first rebuttal. Oh, you can't spell. That's what they do in, what's it called? In, you know, when they get the celebrities, you know that Jimmy Kimmel bit where they get celebrities? Mean tweets. That's it. Mean tweets. Mean tweets. That's the first thing they do. If you do a mean tweet, get the spelling right, so at least so they can't say anything, right? If you're going to insult somebody, at least get your spelling right, because you know that's the first place they're going to go. Learn how to spell. Learn how to spell. Right? So, go to grammar first, right? Grammar first, right? Care Bear knows. Go to the grammar first. At least get your grammar right if you're going to insult, right? So they got nothing to say. So, anyway. Anyways, you guys here, you are not the worst. You're the best. You guys here watching. You guys here watching. You're not the worst. You're the best. Woo-wee! Having a lot of fun today on the Box Office Artist Podcast. There you go. Well, there you go. There you go. Anyway, guys, my friends, we're going down the end of this. I was going to go ahead and draw the buildings, but I do have time to draw. I could draw some buildings, I guess. Brian threw in a Super G. You didn't have to do that, my friend, because my friend got hurt in a freak worst channel accident. Really, Brian? It's the worst channel. He's the worst channel. You know what I think of the word worst? I think of sausages, right? Bratwurst, right? Bratwurst sausages. I'm hungry now. That I could eat. I could eat bratwurst sausages. I could eat that. Yummy. Okay, so anyways, guys, we're coming down to the end of this particular stream here. Tomorrow we're gonna add all the friends, and I would like to add some buildings here. I think that would be fun. Do I have time to draw some buildings here? Hello, GN. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. What do you prefer, Marvel or DC? Who wants to fight? Who wants to fight? There you go. Can a brother like both? I don't get the tribalism, guys. I never did. The worst drawing ever. There you go. I love it, Angel Pop. The worst drawing ever. There you go. I don't get why people can't like both things, right? I don't get why you have to like one or the other. I never got that. I'm with the ones that give me the product I enjoy, right? Whether that be comics, whether that be movies, whether that be wrestling, right? I don't care what company you are. Entertain me. I don't care which company it comes from. I'm not going to like a company just because it's that company. If a Marvel movie's bad, I'm going to say it's bad. If a DC's movie is bad, I'm going to say it's bad. If a wrestling company is bad, I'm going to say it's bad, right? For me, they need to earn my like, right? As they should. So I'm not going to like something just because I'm on that quote unquote team, right? I'm not going to like something because they're on that. Just not going to blanket like something. Like, it has to do its job. It has to do its job. So if a DC movie entertained me, I'm going to love that DC movie. If a DC comic entertains me, I'm going to like that comic. If a Marvel movie entertains me, I'm going to like Marvel. If a AEW show entertains me, which it did, I had a fantastic time, right? I enjoyed it. I love it. However, if it doesn't, if I don't get enjoyment out of it, or there's some things I didn't like as much, which both WWE and AEW have done for me in the past, I'm going to say it. So I'm not on a team. Yeah, that you guys' grammar was the worst, Brian. There you go, the worst. See, Beowulf watches all of them, and so do I. So do I. Actually, MLW is actually coming to Toronto. I might catch it. But the thing is, my kids are starting to get into wrestling a little bit. And I know an MLW show wouldn't be one I could actually bring them to. I don't think I could bring them to an MLW show, right? And then I have no one to go with. Because I have no friends, guys. I got no friends. I have no friends, guys. Okay. So, since all of you guys are asking questions in the chat, I'll definitely answer some questions here in the chat here. For example, Gian asks, did I like Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness? It's okay. On the lower end, I didn't like a lot of the decisions they made in that movie. I'm going to be 100% honest. I didn't like a lot of the decisions they made in that movie. Right? I have you, Sir Galahad. You guys are my friends. You guys are my buddies. So... it was okay. If it's on TV, I got nothing else to do, I'll watch it. But let's just say it wasn't my favorite. Let's just say that. But it was okay. But Brian Bevins, thinking about things I like. Brian Bevins asked about Logan Paul at Crown Jewel. I've never seen someone more natural at wrestling come along in a long time than Logan Paul. I've never seen someone... He would make the best heel ever. The best bet. Like, even when he did that first match, when he was with The Miz, against the Mysterio. Was that the Mysterios at WrestleMania? His facial expressions, when the camera would zoom in on his face, and then he did that stupid smile, right? I was like, oh man, this guy has it. Now, the thing is, he's too rich to want to do this full time, right? He's got too many things going on. He'll never do this full time. Unless he just has nothing left to do. But if he wanted to, like, this guy could be like the biggest superstar ever. If he wanted to. Like, this is literally his third match. His third match, that Roman Reigns match. And I was on the edge of I was jumping up and down. I was literally jumping up and down watching that match. I had very low expectations for the match. And I was literally jumping up and down in that match. And I was like, oh, no, he's going to do it. No. I was like that. I was like, can you believe that? And I'm like, wow, never seen one with that natural talent at this sport. Because you've been following this sport for as long as I have. And you see guys come and go. You see guys who try this. You see celebrities try this and go. And when you see someone with that natural of a talent, it's pretty incredible. Could he put on that performance every night? Probably not, right? Of course not. Like, he pretty much put everything on the line. He's only wrestled about 3 times. And when you do that, you could do everything. Every single match. You can't do that every single match. But if he really wanted to, he could be like one of the best wrestlers ever. He really could be. But he won't. He's got too many things going on. He's got too many interests for that to happen, though. But I met Logan Paul. I've met him. I'll show you guys that picture. I met him at the Streamy Awards a few years ago. We talked about that. If I show you guys my picture of myself and Logan Paul, you'll see how short I am. You'll see what a short dude I am. There you go. Ready to go. Brian says, I thought it was better than some of the other matches, better than Lesnar Bobby. I can't disagree. I can't disagree with that for sure. Chris Gordon says, lately the Marvel movies, the effects, the stories got worse. Why is it the budgets? It's definitely not the budgets. It is time. It could be the time. I'd actually say it's more time than budget, guys. It's more time than budget. Because these visual effects companies, they could do stellar work. And they do. But the timelines they're given, the amount of time that they're forced to work all of this overtime. Trust me, guys. If there's anyone who knows, I know. I've worked in that space. I know what it's like staying up 3 days in a row. I know what it's like not seeing your family. I know what it's like where even to suggest getting a weekend off, right? It's like you're going to get fired. I know that feeling. It's definitely not the actual effects artists themselves. It's the time. The reason Superman's mustache looks so bad, guys. The reason Superman's mustache looks so bad. It had two great things going against it. Okay, number one is the time factor. Okay, literally because of what happened, they wanted to push that movie to the next year, but the DC execs, they wanted their bonus, so they forced them to release the movie when they did. So that was the number one thing against them. They didn't have enough time to make it look good. Okay, the number two thing that went against that they were on the losing end already. And to be honest, even if they did have the time, they would no longer win. Was the fact that everybody knew that the mustache was there. The moment everybody knew the mustache is there, it didn't matter how good those effects were. There were some shots that were okay. I was watching it from a visual effects perspective. There were some shots that looked great. They started off with the worst one. They started off the movie with the worst visual effects shot of his mustache. They started off with the worst one, unfortunately. So right away, they get off on the wrong foot. Because they started off and everybody went, Ugh! They started off, Ugh! But now it didn't matter. It didn't matter how good it looked. Everybody, that's the only thing people could focus on was that mustache. So they could have had more time. They could have done the best they could. But at the end, even one slight hair off, and people would have been like, the effects were bad. It didn't matter at that point. That was the biggest problem with that movie. It was doomed to fail. It was doomed. From the second that was a gigantic story that his mustache had to be CGI'd out, it was over. I knew it was over. There was no way they could get past that. So it's not necessarily that it's less time or less money. It's not money. Marvel they have unlimited finances. It's number one. The artists are overworked. Number two, the visual effects companies priced themselves out, meaning they competed with themselves. So in terms of money, they're not making money. All these visual effects companies, and they're forcing when you say money, okay, maybe in terms of they didn't hire enough artists, and they're making their current artists working like 5 times more. That's the issue. That's the reason why the effects aren't as good as they could be. But I'm going to push back a little bit on the effects because I guarantee there's a lot of effects in there that you had no idea were effects that look fantastic. It's always the bad ones you're going to notice, right? It's going to be She-Hulk, you're going to say is bad because that's a CG character. Right off the bat. That's a CG character. Right off the bat that's not real. But there's hundreds of shots in there that you thought were real that aren't. Okay? Guaranteed. Hundreds of shots in there. You had no idea that they were on a soundstage. You had no idea they were in the volume. You had no idea they were on a green screen. There's hundreds of shots in there. And that's just what visual effects is. That's why, whenever you see the best visual effects category in all these award shows, I always say, were they really? Or the ones who win? Or is it because we know what they did? Was it because we knew what they did? I always say the best visual effects are the ones that you don't know their effects. So, and that's a whole podcast on its own, guys. I could definitely talk about a lot about that. But it's definitely it is. Okay, guys, it is 7:24. Like, part of me wants to do like these really elaborate buildings, but then I'm also asking myself, is that even necessary? Let's see here. Let me just pull up some building references here, right? Just pulling up some building references here, guys. What I wanted. How big is he going to be? Because we could do like a regular thing building. I don't think we have enough time for that. Like, looking at it right now, maybe I'll just rough it out with a pencil, what I want to do with the buildings. But the buildings will take time. It'll take an hour or so. Which actually might not be too bad because the other characters, they're going to be smaller. So we could definitely do that kind of thing. Biro says you're a practical effects kind of guy. Well, again, you can't get more real than real. You really can't. If there's a way to do practical, I always say practical is always a better solution. But one example of that, though, guys, you know The Force Awakens? When The Force Awakens came out, Star Wars The Force Awakens came out, the big thing was, okay, the big thing that everyone kept saying was, yes, JJ's using practical effects. They're using practical effects. And it's mostly apparent in the, with the animatronics they were doing for the creatures. And those look fantastic, right? So absolutely, yes, I agree with that, right? But the whole thing was, yes, JJ, practical effects. Yes, JJ, practical effects. Woohoo! Hooray! And then I watched the trailer. I watched the trailer for The Force Awakens. And I remember specifically watching that trailer and going, okay, if I was working in the industry, these parts were all effects, these parts were all effects, these parts were all effects. But, they're saying that they're more practical effects. So I guess this part could have been built, and they could have built this part, and this part could have been built. I was saying that to myself, right? Because the hype was, yeah, all practical, yeah, right? And then I saw a behind-the-scenes clip. I saw a behind-the-scenes special for The Force Awakens. And everything that I thought were effects, they were. Every single thing I thought was a visual effect was. It wasn't practical. It wasn't practical. These days, guys, and especially with the advent of AI, these days you're not gonna be able to tell. You're gonna think in your mind. You're gonna think, yes, they went practical. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And you know what? You know which ones probably is the most obvious, but it's not. Is car scenes. Car scenes? Somebody even driving down the road, you can't tell sometimes that the whole thing is completely CG. When you see someone even driving down the road, like, they're probably in the car, that outside the window is like some sort of film, but some people think it's stock film when it's actually 100% CG. Doing car chases, like that, car chases are always like 90 to 95% CG, right? They will have a car in the back and a camera attached to a car. Sure, they would definitely do that, right? But of course it would be. It's safer. It's definitely safer. So, Darudy says this channel is the beast and the best, my friend, and the best. There you go. Green Alien says, okay, and guys, we're winding down here. I'm just trying to sketch out where I want the buildings to be. We're winding down here. We will get to all of this fun stuff later, okay? Because I'm gonna actually add like a lot of smoke and stuff. This could be fun. But Green Alien says, hi, I'm starting my YouTube channel. I'm trying to upload as many videos as possible. Fantastic, guys. Fantastic. Great start there, Green Alien. I will say, number one, make sure you're doing that for the right reasons, okay? And the right reasons, especially at your age, or especially at your, just starting a YouTube channel, the number one reason you should be doing that is to learn and to find who you are as a creator, because that will take a whole bunch of videos, okay? Now, again, don't get your expectations up. Just because you upload a lot of videos does not mean you're entitled to get a lot of views, okay? Take it as a learning experience. Understand it's going to take a while to build an audience no matter how many videos you put out, okay? You can have the best videos in the world. The algorithm needs to know that people are watching your videos all the way through for your videos to start hitting on their side, okay? So be patient. Learn from every single video. Learn. Find out what people like. Find out what people like what you're doing, okay? And then learn from it, okay? Because at this stage, when you're just starting out, yes, put out as much content as possible. Learn about the content creation process. And then, don't expect much from it, but learn from every single video and apply it to the next one, okay? That's what you should do. By the way, I think Apple said here, that's the coolest Barney ever. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. We should do a Barney alternate cover there, Apple. Yeah, it's gonna do the best. Or gonna do the beast. There you go. Gonna do the best. There you go. There you go. There you go, guys. So you know what, guys? I think that's it for today. It's 7:30. I'm not in a rush to finish this. We'll finish this off tomorrow. So I will definitely be more in a rush tomorrow because you see all these buildings here. So when I do these buildings here tomorrow, I'm probably going to put a timer on. I might start tomorrow's stream a little bit earlier than usual because I do want to finish this tomorrow. I'll probably just timer myself, give myself an hour to draw all these broken down buildings. So that's going to be the first thing we're going to do. And then spend the rest of the time drawing the rest of Barney's friends tomorrow. Okay, so that's what we are going to do tomorrow. Okay, so if you have any last minute questions, please do go put that in the chat right now. It's your chance. So Mario says, have you ever had a pet and what kind? I've had a goldfish at the resistance of my dad because he's allergic. Apparently he's allergic to goldfish. I asked my dad, hey dad, can I have a goldfish? He says, no, I'm allergic. And then my goldfish died right away. Now I'm allergic to goldfish. Every time my kids ask me for a pet, I said, I'm allergic to goldfish. To goldfish? Yeah, even to goldfish. I'm allergic. There you go. Let's see here. Art with Henry said, I'm trying to draw better. What do I do? Draw more. And learn. Okay, so 2 factors to that, okay? I always tell people when you're trying to learn how to draw, okay? Is this the new YouTube? And it is Quentin Bolt, by the way. This drawing is fire, according to Bleep2642. Thank you so much. Twofold. Number 1, anyone who wants to get started drawing. Number 1, fall in love with drawing. Forget learning the fundamentals at first. Fall in love with drawing. Get used to drawing every single day. And once you start getting the habit of drawing every single day, then you could start concentrating on the fundamentals, okay? Then you can start, because you will need to know the fundamentals. You will. It will make you a better artist, okay? Then start learning. So fall in love with the actual act of drawing consistently first. And then start learning how to draw the fundamentals. Then start drawing everything you see, okay? Then go to the zoo and start sketching animals. Then start learning anatomy. Then you do that afterwards. But the number 1 thing you need to do is to love drawing first. Because once you love drawing, then you're willing to put in the work to get better at it. Okay, so that would be my advice to you, my friend. Russell says, you're one of the best artists that I know, and I really admire your style. Keep inspiring everyone. Godspeed, kapatid. Okay, thank you so much, Russell, and thank you for being here. There you go. What do you think about Godzilla? Scary. Brian says, great show as always. Thank you, my friend. What time will be over? In a few minutes. Legacy of Kain. I've never seen that Bear Wolf. Let's see. See you tomorrow, Mario. See you tomorrow morning. I ruined my sleep schedule for your awesome content. Wake up early, Brian. Wake up early. It'll change your life. And so, thank you. Hi, Lee Tut. Hi, Lee Tut, and hi to everybody who joined in. On the live on Instagram. Thank you. You know what, guys? I will really try tomorrow to see if I can find a way to look at the Instagram chat. Oh, I could just log. Now I know how. Now I know how. Right at the end of this stream, I know how to look at the Instagram chat. I know. Okay, guys. So thank you guys for watching, for being here. It means so much to me. Thank you for watching whatever platform you're watching on, Twitter, Instagram, on what's it called, YouTube, of course, Facebook Live, wherever you're watching. Thank you for joining me. This is the James Raiz Morning Show. This is the James Raiz Morning Show. Still finding a name. I'm thinking the morning masterclass. That's the name I'm leaning towards. Raise and shine, my friends. Raise and shine. It's time to get your drawing on every single morning. I love you all. All of you. Have a wonderful day. Wherever you are in the world, please do stay safe. Hug your loved ones. Tell your parents you love them. And there you go. And before we go, give me a high five right here. Give me a high five right here. And my name is James. I am the box office artist. I'm here to say keep drawing. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Take care, everyone. I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.